Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Coming in hot with episode 8. I don't really have too much to say right now besides you'll hear some background noises. That white noise is kind of back. Not as bad as it was in the first episode. It's so minimal that I didn't even realize it was there until Daniel listened to a part I wanted him to listen to and was like, hey, that noise is back. And I was like, oh. So I put in a little more music to kind of counteract that. And of course when we talk, it's very minimal. Our little boy Tito, new puppy boy Tito, he occasionally barks and cries and whines because he's puppy man and he needs a lot of attention. But you'll hear a bark or two. He's not being abused. He's just a baby. I also don't know why, but our chairs are just extra squeaky in this episode. I don't think they've been this squeaky. I just think we were getting really into it and we kept readjusting ourselves and our chairs are just going crazy. So you're gonna hear a lot of chairs squeaking. And then also, Daniel, this bitch, started eating tortilla chips at some point, so you'll hear some crunches. I edited most of them out, but this bitch just had to have some tortilla chips. But it's toward the end. I think it's in our highlight, lowlight. We got a little rants at the end too, but that's what the end's for. But enjoy the episode.
Alright. You saw the weirdness with the churches.
I what?
You saw some weirdness with the churches and investigated the ley line
I got Marilyn
stuff.
Monroe by the ley line, yeah.
And I think we left off with you just finished talking with Malaz.
I think he just started telling me about his dragon
Right, he
friend.
gave you the letter for the dragon colleague. Which
there,
was down south in 1 week's time.
1 week's time, yeah.
And I even gave her a name.
You gave her a name?
I'm pretty confident I did, but it's missing from my notes.
Eladria.
Eladria?
Eladria. And I wrote down the bird's name.
Of course you did. Alright, so what do you do?
I think I'm trying to figure it out, but I either do no, it's still the same day. So I think I want to...
We'll say it's around 4.
Around 4. How long has it been since that ley line thing happened?
I'll say an hour.
An hour? Can I see if the mayor's at his house?
Sure.
And if he isn't, I would like to break in.
So how would you like to see if he's there? His home is on this raised platform of this raised stone foundation, and...
I think I want to go in the same way I did last time through the back window, see if he's in there.
So, just like before, give me a stealth check.
Yes, sir. It's gonna be the first roll out of the bag.
And it's gonna be... Wait, you have my dice still.
I do, and it gave me a natural fucking 20.
Give me my dice back.
No.
Take her.
No!
I want my dice back.
I'm keeping the nat 20
That's
it just
fine.
gave me.
That's allowed. Yeah, so you're stealth, and now a little acrobatics check. Or, not acrobatics, athletics.
15.
Okay. Yeah, you scale the wall. Stealthily, extremely stealthily. And you make your way up to the window, and as you peer in, you do not see the mayor. However, you do see like a servant woman of some kind inside. Perception check.
6.
The only thing you'll notice mostly different about the place of note is that one key I told you about is missing.
I think what I'm gonna have Wynn do is I want her to climb up into the attic since it's right above there.
Okay.
And I want her to make noise in the attic. I want her to thrash around. So that way the lady will get not thrash around like someone's getting like murdered upstairs, but maybe like a rat or a possum, and get her curiosity so she walks away and goes up, and then Wynn can in the main area.
Okay. I need another athletics check to get up there.
13.
Good enough, yeah. You climb up, make your way into the attic, and describe to me how Wynn would make rat noise.
If she sees... Because last time she was up there, it's a whole bunch of food, right?
I believe so, yes.
She's ripping grain bags open. She's, like, taking handfuls and, like, throwing it everywhere. Not all of it. She doesn't want to waste too much food, but just enough, you know, to make... Like, this possum that got in here went to town, you know?
Roll me an animal handling check.
Ooh, I don't like that. Oh. What's animal handling? It's wisdom. I got an 11.
With an 11, you pass. I'm going to say you make it convincing enough that she will be up there for a specified amount of time that I know.
Okay.
The higher the roll, the longer she'll be up there, kind of deal. So, alright, and you can hear, like, a pause, and you hear, like, what the hell? And there's, like, a pause. There's then you hear a, like, dum, 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 like a broomstick hitting the ceiling underneath your feet.
And then can I have her try to make the sounds of skittering away, but she knocks like 10 more things over.
Yes. I'm gonna say that's involved with your animal handling roll.
Okay.
And now, because of what you said, you hear the attic door swing open, and you see a ladder immediately, and you hear, like, she's coming up very quickly.
And then I want Wynn to come out through the window she came in, but immediately swoop into the window underneath.
Roll me acrobatics. Beating a 12?
I got an 18... 23.
Oh, flawlessly and silently, you leap out of the windowsill, grabbing it to, like, change you from diving to, like, jump out, hold on
like a gymnast
to the edge.
bar, kind of.
Yeah, and then you flip forward, and you manage to spin yourself on your way down, let go, grab the top of the next windowsill, and then swing in. And as you swing in, feet first, you like, tuck, roll, and then, like, as you stand up, you see the back end of the servant woman fully climbing into the attic.
Excellent. The world is my oyster. Okay, can I get a better perception check in here now?
Yes.
I got a natural 1.
You're...
I'm looking. I have eyes.
But it's a natural 1, so there has to be a problem.
I only have 1 inspiration point left, so I kind of don't want to use it. I have 2, actually. Can I reroll?
Yes.
19.
Okay. With the 19, you take a look around, and there's nothing really of interest. You don't see anything out of the ordinary. It looks like an average higher class person's home. But that's until you find one book on a table, and you flip it open, and you see it's like a, I hope this is the right term, like a repertoire of like like a plan, like an itinerary,
like research notes?
like a schedule.
Okay.
You see, you know, he is a mayor, and you could tell because you had one of the books, you could tell that was one person's handwriting. This is someone else's handwriting. And you see this handwriting is a schedule of sorts, being like, mid-morning coffee, speak to X merchant about potential tax increase, talk to X person about repaving this road. You see, like, a lot of, like...
It's mayor stuff.
Mayor-y things, and then you see one of which is a specific address about an hour and a half ago. That says, like, visit X address for, like, a fire inspection. And then you'll see about 30 minutes after the current time, I said it's about 4. So about 4:30, it says, like, home for early dinner. And then you see a few more mayor duties, except for one at about 9 o'clock, which seems to be... Tonight, which you see at the tavern. It says,
Talk to Sala.
meeting with Talith. Talith.
Ooh, that's new. I gotta write down too, huh? Talith?
T-A-Lith. L-I-G-H.
I just had a pen. And it just says meeting with Talith.
Doesn't say anything about any house or home or any...
It's an at-home meeting.
It says at the tavern.
Oh, at the tavern? Oh, I'm stupid. I wanted to go ahead and steal a bottle of wine.
Okay.
And then I want her to check the apple crate that she originally had found his journal under.
Uh-huh.
Is there another journal, or...
There's nothing under there.
There's nothing under there. And that key's gone. And we said we confirmed that there's no basement.
Maybe there's a basement somewhere else.
It's like, I have a basement, but it's not my It's not my basement. It's someone else's basement. I just took the ownership of it. Does he have like a little study area?
Like across from his bed, you see like a work desk with like a chair with a bookshelf.
Okay, I would like Win to go into the study real quick. How's it sounding upstairs? Is she cleaning up and...
You heard some cursing when you first got in. That seems to have simmered down, and from the way that they've been stepping around, you're guessing that they've searched everywhere in the attic once at least.
Okay.
The franticness has settled.
Okay, last thing I'm gonna do, I just want to start to study. I want Win to hit like the usual, like, underneath the bed, are we hiding anything? Underneath the desk, are we hiding anything?
Investigation check.
3.
Sorry, you don't find anything. And as that roll is done, you hear, I'm gonna need a fucking broom, and you hear, what's her name, coming down.
Is there a broom near me?
Roll me percentage. I'm gonna say you have a 10% chance that she left the broom in that room. You can roll me a d10, and if you roll a 1.
Well, I was gonna say, if it's near me, I'd like to just, kind of...
Put it closer to her and then hide.
Yeah. What's 0-0?
Oh no, we're gonna get into this argument.
Because I got a 4, and then I got 0-0.
Oh, so it's just 4. So that's under 10.
Okay.
People have this argument of 10 then 0-0 is 100. 1-0-0 is 1.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's just something that I'll never...
Percentile dice are weird.
Yeah.
I love them, but they're fucking weird.
Yeah.
So with that, yeah.
The fat 4%.
You are lucky, and they just see... You find a broom leaned up against what's-his-name's desk, and I'm gonna say you could assume that she was, like, cleaning up that area intermittently while cooking.
And I take it, and I reach around the corner, and I just set it right there, and then I just...
You hide. Roll me stealth check. I'll tell you it's not as high of a check as you might
I got
think.
a 9.
You are 1 away.
I'll use my last inspiration.
No, for the broom thing, she's busy. She's looking for something. I'll give you advantage.
Okay.
I feel like that's fair. Because you could have just hid.
I got a natural 20.
Like a ghost. You just... and you're just standing there perfectly.
I phase into the wall.
And you hear her... And you hear, like... Huh. And she takes the broom and you hear... And she's back up.
Fantastic. Where else could you hide? Under the pillows. On top of the bookshelf.
What are you looking for?
I want to see if he has another little dastardly journal somewhere.
Okay.
What?
Roll me
Does
perception.
he have a diary?
Roll me perception.
14.
No. And then you see the one
gayest
place
diary.
Wynn would never find, would never think to look. Just sitting on the windowsill, you just see a small book. What would you say the length of that? Maybe like 3 inches?
4x6.
4x6?
Yeah.
A 4x6 book. You see it's like a lovely... I'm going to say Wynn knows this intrinsically. It's this lovely red elven leather bound...
Oh, no.
small journal. And you see it has these beautiful, like, shiny blue metal clasps that are locking it with like a padlock. Kind of.
I take it.
Okay. You pick it up. And as you do, roll me... What would you roll to be like... You're such a material girl whore that you know the different valuable materials. Investigation?
History?
History or investigation, whichever you...
I have a 0 to both. So. 14.
The padlock is quite interesting. It is a very small adamantine padlock.
Wow. Is that hard to pick then?
I don't know, is it?
Well, we'll see when I'm at home. It's mine now. You're coming home with me. And then I'd like her to go out the way she came, as long as it's clear. And I want her to put the journal back, like the original ley line planner back, but just out a little enough.
May I suggest something?
What?
Put it somewhere where they could find it, but not in the same spot. Put it somewhere where it would be like... Think about when you lose something, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, but sometimes I'll lose something.
No,
checking,
I know.
Checking spot A, checking 27 different spots.
This way. If you always put one thing in the same spot every time, right? And it's
then you
missing.
lose it. Yeah.
There's no way you haven't checked that spot at least 4 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you more than likely left it outside of its main spot. So I would suggest like on top of a bookshelf.
Is there another crate on top of the original crate that I got it from?
We'll say yeah.
Can I put it underneath that one?
Yes.
Okay.
And you slip that one on under, and then you dive out the window?
Yeah, as long as it's clear.
Give me an acrobatics check.
A 7.
Okay. With a 7, you jump, do a quick flip, and you land with grace, and then you hear...
Who's clapping?
You see a little kid down on the corner of the block who just saw you do that. He's like...
She bows very deeply, and... Since this kid saw her...
That's the complication for not having a good enough acrobatics, by the way.
She's not going to walk immediately to Malice's house, then. She is... Oh, it's not time for this tavern.
It is 4:30, so you have...
I got like 5 hours left.
4.5 hours.
Wynn's going to assume that this kid's not going to make it a problem yet, because this guy doesn't allow children. And, like... That's his AoE effect, is just no kids.
That's his regional effect?
Yeah, that's his regional effect of I hate fucking children, and they will fear me.
Do you know what energy you kind of get from his house?
What?
You know the Castlevania mayor?
Yes.
You kind of get that energy around his
You know
house.
what's funny is that when we first talked about it, we talked about that episode, and I was like, this is the guy that has just children's shoes in his room and sends them out to the apple tree to go and fucking die.
I'm saying that's the energy, but it's only around his house. Like, everyone else is fine once it's not his house specifically.
Yeah, so she'll take note of it, but she does have the benefit of this is a child. If the problem comes up, she'll deal with it when it comes up. But yeah, we're gonna go to the tavern, and we're going to buy a room for tonight first. And
did I ever say how bougie the tavern is?
You did not. You just told me that my room that I got the night that I slept with Malice was really nice.
We'll say it's a 3 gold per night room then, specifically.
Okay, good, because I don't have a lot of money left. I think I want to ask Sala if there is anything I can do for some quick cash.
We'll say you get to skip the song and dance. I'll say you, like, buy a drink and you walk over towards the table, and I'm sure Wynn's not offended when the guards don't let her immediately in. Mm-hmm. She probably knows, like, oh, it's just business, and
Sala, she's like, I only did come here once.
Sala kind of waves them off and lets you back in, and she's sitting there, and you come
still
over.
Sitting very bisexually.
Of course, you can never sit the right way, obviously. You come over and you sit down and you ask for...
I'm like, hello, Miss Good Dream, you're looking as lovely as ever. So I went on my endeavors, and I came back empty-handed. So do you have anything that's quick and fast and dirty that could help a girl out?
How quick, how fast, how dirty?
Preferably not too dirty.
Okay. And
I can do quick and fast.
Again, how quick, how fast?
4.5 hours. I could start tomorrow. Ooh, I don't know.
How much cash are you looking for?
What would be a ridiculous price for a super quick job?
A ridiculous price?
Well, I want to know so I know not to say it.
For a job that you're trying to get done in, like, 4.5 hours, I'd say anything over, like, 100 gold pieces would be, like, ridiculous. 100 gold pieces might be ridiculous to try and be like, yeah, hi, I want 100 gold pieces for 4.5 hours of work.
Well, it depends on what kind of work we're doing, though.
That's the dirty part.
So I pay 3 gold pieces for this room, so at this point I have 72 gold pieces. I think I'd be happy with 50.
You'd be happy with 50?
Yeah, if I'm over 100 coins in her pouch feels good.
So you ask for 50 gold pieces?
Yeah.
Alright, and then she's gonna ask, alright, do you want the complicated work, or do you want the grunt work?
Is there a right or a wrong answer?
No.
How's complicated is complicated?
Complicated might involve breaking in
cells?
somewhere and searching and getting things.
You know what's so funny? I just did that.
Oh, that's lovely. And then she's gonna go, grunt work is doing a couple small little errands and small little tasks for me.
Christy wants to do complicated work because that means I can steal more things. What would Daniel like?
If you want it to just be like a quick, like a few rolls of the dice, the grunt work. If you want it to be a little bit more complex than that, and you want to be like exploring a room and potentially stealing more
I
things.
want to be a little bastard, Daniel.
Okay.
Do you not? I don't have
I
to
just
do
don't have
it
it prepared. It's up to you.
I did just steal, I assume, a fine bottle of wine from the mayor's house.
Yes, we'll do grunt work then.
Okay.
And she's going to go, all right, a few simple things for you to do. And she is going to pull out 5 gold coins. And she's going to put them on the table. She's going to go, I need this one to end up in... And she names 5 different merchants. I need these coins to end up in their coffers, in their gold pouches. You could do a normal transaction with them, but they don't sell things cheap, so I don't know how you'd be offering that money to them. If you just want to slip it into their bag somehow without them looking, that's another option of yours.
Is there anything different about these coins?
You take a look at them, and when you look at the coin, there seems to be nothing you can just see weird about them.
Uh-huh.
If you'd like to make some other kind of roll to determine some other kind of difference, then you may. If you're trying to guess are they real gold or not, then you can roll me like an investigation. That'll give you more information about its physical properties. If you want to see if there's like magic on it, you can roll me Arcana.
I think Wynn would want to see if there's any physical differences with it. She's
roll
not.
me
Arcana's not the first thought for her. Investigation or what? 4. That's a gold coin.
They're 5 gold coins.
Okay.
I will say the biggest thing you would notice is they're slightly hard to notice lately. But I know Wynn's like such a fiend for money. She probably knows that these are just a teeny tiny bit smaller in diameter.
Okay. She'll leave it at that. She's not going to ask questions, so she doesn't have to deal with the morals of what she's going to do.
And then she's going to go, other than that, I just need... And she's going to slide over a small envelope. That needs to be handed to, and she gives you a description of a person and a location of where they would be without anyone else seeing. And then this one just needs to be dropped off on the back doorstep of this address. With, again, no one seeing.
So one needs to be delivered to a person without being seen, and the other needs to be dropped off without being seen.
Yes, and she makes it very easy to tell. One has a red wax seal, one has a blue wax seal. Blue is for the house, red is for the person.
Okay, alright. Okay, so we will go ahead and start doing that then.
So...
I'd like her to go ahead and... We're going to do the people first, where I have to plant the coins, since there's still daylight out. I think it'd be easiest to interact.
So you walk on over to the marketplace, and she gives you, like, locations and descriptions of the different shops.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is a bakery.
Mm-hmm.
You walk in, it's your average bakery, it smells... nice.
Like a bakery.
You get a little bit of a sourness on the air.
Sourdough?
As you find out that it's a sourdough bakery.
Oh.
That seems to be their specialty here. And you walk in and you get another smell that hits you, which is soup.
Like a Panera? Does this smell like a Panera?
Sure, yeah, I guess that's how you can envision it. You walk in and you see this, like, jacked orc woman stirring a cauldron of soup, and you see that there are, we'll say, 4 large cauldrons sitting over like small smoldering ovens, and then you'll see there's a 5th small smoldering oven that has nothing above it yet, and above a fire you see the cauldron that she's stirring, which is bubbling and like at a rolling simmer. Not a rolling simmer, at a simmer. And you see the wall has this nice large oven, and you can peer in it, and you see these perfect football-sized sourdough loaves being cooked. Yeah, so that's what you come into. There's a nice, like, stone countertop in front of you. What do you do?
I think this is the one that I'm just gonna buy from. How expensive can bread and soup be? And even if it is expensive, I would hope it's just a gold coin. Which I think would be better, because that way I don't have to pay with more gold coins, so they can't compare it to more gold coins. I'm just giving them one, and they can't, like...
So, what do you do?
I would like to order...
Okay, so you walk up to the counter...
Do they not have, like, a price bulletin board or anything? A price chalkboard? Or...
You see... It's actually like, you see like an easel. but instead of wood or chalkboard, you see it's a stone slab that has things chiseled into it, and a colored paint or dye put into the carvings to make it easier to read.
Okay, like a gravestone.
Sure.
But for bread.
Yes. You come on in, and yeah, you'll see that if you want to spend 1 gold, you would have to buy a loaf by itself, and then a bread bowl soup.
I would like her to order a loaf, and she's like, I only want to spend a gold coin, but instead of a bread bowl soup, can I just get extra soup? I want to share it with my partner tonight.
So she just wants like 2 bowls of soup?
Yeah.
But without the bread part?
Yeah, like soup to make up for the bread bowl that she doesn't want. Because she's buying a loaf of bread anyway.
Okay, yeah.
If we're gonna do this transaction, we're gonna do it to our advantage.
No, she goes, okay. And she's like, oh, of course. And then she goes and she gets you a to-go bowl, which is basically just like a small, like perfectly cylindrical wooden, like it's decorated to be like a little wooden stump, basically. Yeah. And she fills it up with a little wood cap on it and brings it over to you and uses twine to like tie it shut and then slides it across to you. But yeah, you get your bread and your soup, and you give her 1 gold coin. There you go.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Goodbye.
You too. And then the next stop, because I do have to do 5 people in total. Yep. If I can slip it into the next person's pocket, cool. I also do have the plan of like, if they're very like open with their money purse, she's just gonna run into them and just make them spill everywhere, and then put the coin in the pile. Be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Let me please, I'm so sorry.
You see the next person as you come up to them. You see they're at like a market stall, and they're actually packing up for the day. And you see right now they're in the middle of counting their coins.
I want Wynn to go into the trajectory to just full on blown run into them. But as she is going to yell behind her. I don't want her to yell. I never want to hear an offer like that ever again. It's disrespectful and you know it. And then, boom, right into this guy.
Okay, what are you going to do after you smack into him?
Once the coins go flying, I would also... She has the coin ready in her hand. I'll say she has the coin ready. And then she tosses it into the mix. Maybe, preferably, just me thinking, Christy using her brain cells, as the guy turns around, she'll, like, throw it, like, leg level, because he's busy trying to see who knocked into him.
Who knocked into her and who's yelling.
And who's yelling. So the attention's not towards there, okay. So she can just throw it into the pile.
Okay, yeah. No roll needed. I'm going to say that's good enough detail. But I'm going to add a little bit to it. As you say that, you know, you're going to hear a response as if a merchant's yelling back at you. And you hear them, it's more disrespectful coming to a merchant with nothing but copper in your pocket. And,
well, who did this guy run into?
And what's happening is Demos is casting Minor Illusion.
Oh, but Wynn doesn't know that.
And is throwing a voice around with it.
Oh, that's so cute.
And yeah, so that happens, and then you toss your coin, and it lands into the pile, and then I assume you just sort of, like, act annoyed and angry and just sort of, like...
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean... I don't want my day to ruin somebody else's day. Please, allow me.
This is grunt work, so I'm gonna say especially, right... Oh, that's what I should ask you for real quick. Let me get a list of that. Alright, I now have all of your passive scores.
Okay.
So that way, if I'm doing something like this where I don't want to have you rolling all the time, and you're trying to justify a bunch of stuff, like, oh, I want to do this and do this and do this and do this. In a scene like this, as long as you're mostly using the skills that you have good enough for passives, I'm probably not going to ask you to roll for stuff like this.
Okay.
That's done. You get the merchant one done.
Okay, merchant's done. And then, what's another way that she could slip a coin in? Is there one that I can just sneak into their bag, like, as they're going by, you know?
Yeah.
Not all of them can be, you can't have 5 people in a room and all of them, you know, watch their coin purse that hard.
I'll say yeah.
Okay.
2 of them.
2 of them?
Yeah, so you're on the last one now. And I'll say the last one is eating at a restaurant. And they are on a 2nd-story balcony of a nicer looking restaurant. What Lord she thinking?
In this restaurant, are the servers dressed a certain way, or is it just whatever they're wearing?
They seem to be in like nicer clothing, nicer general clothing.
How nice.
Nicer than you. Nice. Like, win, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah? That
Also,
when's clothes will be enough?
You do say that she is very like caring about her appearance and wants high class stuff. So I'd say yeah, probably.
Then I'd like her to grab an unattended server's tray. Then she gets it out of their like discard pile because they were done with it. Preferably one with glasses of water in it, and I want her to walk past the person and fumble with it and have it fall on them. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. This is my first day. I'm so sorry. Please. And she'll take. I assume they have napkins or
No.
like towels.
Nope. I'm just kidding. Yes.
And she's dabbing the water off of this person, and then as she's doing it, either in her other hand or she like finds a way to put it in the what's it called if it's a napkin but it's cloth? There's a fancier word for it, right?
I think technically handkerchief.
Anyway, you know what I mean.
No, hang on. Name.
We must find this out.
Serviti?
Ain't no one saying that. Okay, well, we're just gonna keep calling it a napkin.
It rolls with how posh and how high class Winwin wants to be.
But she finds a pocket to slip. Oh no, wait, no. She needs the coin. Does she need to put it in their coin purse?
Yes, she wanted you to get up into the coin purse.
Is there like a general place that people?
Like keep their coin purses?
Well, I guess could we play it off as like this person's covered in water at this point, right? So it's not like they're just gonna be like standing there and just letting it soak through. On top of Win wants to like help them up and help like dab off all that she can.
She wants to dab them up.
Hey, yo, what's good? What's good, man? But as she's patting them down, can she tell where their coin purse is?
Yeah, you'll see they have their coin purse is actually like tucked into their. They're wearing a suit and it's like tucked in their suit pocket.
Into their suit pocket? Oh, I don't want to look too suspicious.
I thought you were about to say I don't want to look too desperate. I was about to be like, Christy, it's Win.
Would it be okay then if she's just like, oh, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I got everything. Are you like, did it seep in anywhere? And like, you know, she like lifts the lapels and kind of goes in a little more. Is that too much?
Would you consider this performance? Or would you consider this deception?
Both.
I want honesty.
Performance, I'd say. I don't know. It's so yeah, no. Because I'm acting as something that I'm not.
And with that, I'll say yeah, it still works. You're good. And so you're dabbing. Oh, is everything good? Oh, and you're like trying to make like you're reaching in with your towel to like dab in, and you palmed the coin and you slip it in with your +7 sleight of hand. And oh, okay, I'm so sorry. And it's in.
I'm so sorry. I will be right back. I'll get free bottle of wine for you on the house, and then she just leaves.
And there you go. And now you have to deliver a letter to someone.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that the sun is setting and night is falling, so it'll be
Yes.
darker and it'll be a little easier to do.
Yes.
I would like to find the person first. Because I just think it'll be most optimal to leave the letter at the doorstep of the house. Because I know I have to hand the letter to this person inconspicuously, but the person still has to, like, see me handing it to them. Whereas, like, the house at night doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how dark it is.
Okay.
But dark is most optimal to just dropping it off at the house. So I want to find the person I have to hand deliver it to first.
Okay. Yeah, you go, and the description was a,
You don't have to think too hard if you don't want to, my love.
No, I like making interesting characters. It was the most horrifying thing you could have ever heard of. A clean-shaven dwarf man.
Oh God, why? Why? That's like Amish people. When they get married, they grow out their beards. So if they ever get like divorced or if they cheat or something, they shave
it
their
off?
beards. Yeah, so it's like I don't know. It's like it's weird. That's what I think of. I know dwarves just grow beards because they do, and like it's their thing. But
yeah, you see him, and he is standing on a corner in the marketplace. Are you going to inconspicuously give it to him?
Yeah. Oh, it's the marketplace though. Because I thought it'd be really cool if I could find him on a corner, like of a building though, a solid building, and then I'm just on the other corner. And then I don't turn, but my arm just comes out with the letter. And, I address them and I say, "This is for you."
Okay.
And then I leave.
Yeah. All right. So you pop over and you. This is for you.
This
and
is
then
for you, sir.
you feel it get taken, and there is no response.
And then I go to the house that I have to.
All right, and you find the house, and it is a middle class kind of very basic, cozy looking home.
Mm-hmm.
But you notice that there's a lot of foot traffic in front of it today, and you have to get to the back door to drop it off.
Do I have to sneak my way back? Can
Yeah,
I roll a
but-
stealth check?
Yeah, but how's Wynn gonna do it? Is she just gonna sneak? Is she gonna create a distraction? Is she gonna...
What do you mean by foot traffic? Are you just is this on the main path? Is this
Yeah,
do they just have a lot of visitors?
There's just a lot of people walking down the street.
Oh, is there anything flammable nearby?
Yes.
Can we set off, say, God, would be near a house. What is the not most flammable, but what's very flammable but very extinguishable? Can I set a fence post on fire?
Yeah.
Okay, I like to. That'll be my distraction, because, a crowd of people aren't just going to ignore, this fire that started in their small little town that's all very interconnected in these giant wooden walls.
I don't know, Christy. You're talking about the bystander effect.
Who is gonna be yeah, that's a fire that totally should be there? Then can we have Wynn start the fire inconspicuously?
Okay.
And then she'll be the one to come out and be like, "Fire! Fire! Somebody get a bucket of water! We need pails of water here!" And then, she fucks off and does what she does.
Alright, as you nearly commit a crime for screaming fire in a crowded area, but yes. Yeah.
Those laws don't exist yet. She's the reason that they come into existence.
Okay. But yeah, no, you set the fire, yell out, and everyone, starts going about grabbing pails of water. A lot of people are bumping into each other. There's a little bit of a frenzy, but it is exactly what you kind of asked for, as you then slip on behind and drop the letter off, and there you go.
Piece of cake. What do the letters look like? Is this a Romeo-Juliet situation going on
a
here?
perfectly square piece of
They're square letters?
yes, of
it's more, the post office charges more for square.
well, guess what? You're not a post office.
That's what Wynn thinks it is. She's like, "Oh, is this a quarrel between lovers? Is this a secret between lovers and mistresses? Is this, I don't know what it is, but she would try to even try to read through the letters through the light too while there is still sunlight. What does it say? I don't know what it says.
They're black letters.
Damn! Okay, well, she has to live with that mystery forever. Maybe she'll keep an eye to see if a nice dwarven lady lives in that house. Who has a beard. She took his.
So you make your way back to,
Sala.
Huh?
Sala?
Yes.
Yes.
So you make your way back, and as you get back, you see...
Is it time for conference?
I'm gonna say you're 30 minutes off conference time.
30
minutes
early?
early.
Or what?
You're 30 minutes early.
Oh, okay.
You come in and you see Sala is talking with this dark-haired, taller than your average human, but not tall by their standards, elven man in a fine, sky blue suit. And he sat talking with Sala.
If they let her in, she'd like to let in, and she knows to wait her turn when she knows not to interrupt. If there are any other people at the table, as long as she gets the vibe of, it's okay for them to have their conversation, I can have a conversation, she would like to ask, do you know where the mayor sits? I'm just curious for a little, project.
They're gonna kind of, chuckle, and they're gonna be like, if the mayor doesn't come and hang out at the bar or anywhere down here, if he's coming to the tavern, he's gonna go up to the private lounge to speak with them.
Is the private lounge only for rich people?
Or
important people, I should say.
Important people are people who are willing to pay to get in.
Does she know where it is?
Yeah, there's, when you went up the stairs to get to your room, there's, the common area, then there's a hallway that leads to, like the rooms, the hallway that leads to the nice rooms, and then there's a door, and that door leads to the nicer lounge.
Okay.
The private bar.
Yeah. I'll try to formulate that plan. Ooh, I don't know how to get in there. Because it's not like I can bring Malice, because Malice isn't a good actor, and also lives in this town, so the mayor knows who he is. Because the only thing that comes to mind is that she can eavesdrop through the keyhole, or, like, put her ear up against the door and try to listen as best as she can, but I have no clue. I don't know what I'm going to do about that.
And some time passes, and eventually...
I wanted to ask Sala when we're done, like, I did the job, does the bartender... Oh, God, what?
Allow me to describe.
Okay.
The elven man gets up, seems to be thanking Sala, kind of gives a slight bow, and then is going to walk out. And he leaves.
I'll say Wynn eyes him the whole time he goes. She's like, I haven't seen a nice suit. I haven't seen a suit that color and that nice in a while. Not saying anything about yours. I've seen yours, but blue? Who wears blue? That's very bold, you know.
And she says that to him?
No, to Sala. She doesn't know this guy.
Okay, no, I gotcha. And then
She's like, is he from around here?
she's gonna like laugh and be like, "Nosy one, aren't you?"
I just like people, you know.
She's gonna say that he's from a lakeside elven village or elven castle west of here.
Oh, maybe that's with the blue. That would make sense. Well, I got the work done, and I am confident that I did it well. Don't ask for any of the waitress staffs in that restaurant. May I get my money, please? Thank you. No, she doesn't say it like that. I don't know, what proof would I give to, like, I just did it?
None.
Okay.
And then Sala's gonna...
I got it done.
Sala's gonna, like, make a gesture, and then the goblin comes, and he comes out. Remember, the goblins are in suits. I believe I said that.
They're in nice suits, but you can't get rid of who they are, Daniel.
And they're going to do a stack, or she's gonna ask if you want it in platinum or gold.
Gold, please.
50 gold coin. Allow me to give myself an ounce of serotonin.
And then she wants to ask, the ones with the letters, are they in love?
I don't tell.
Stop. I've never seen a dwarf with a beard before. I feel like it's
Without
like,
a beard.
Without a beard before. I feel like this is the equivalent of, like, shaving your head after a bad breakup, except in his case, shaving his head would have been better.
It's quite rude, but I suppose. So you got your money.
I know, but I'm thinking. I'm still trying to think of a way to get into this lounge. I don't know how to be important enough to get into this lounge.
Because you're not important.
I know, but that's the issue, Daniel. I don't even know how to act the part. When I'll ask Sala, say, Sala, do you know a fellow by the name Talith?
There's gonna be a pause. Yes.
I didn't think I'd get this far.
Alright, Plankton, calm down.
What does he do?
Eat, breathe, shit like the rest of us?
What does he do with the mayor?
Now that's an interesting question. You see that they're like... You see Sala, she's weighing how much information she should and shouldn't give out for free, kind of deal. You know this look well from Falcon.
Yeah.
Falcon, my bad, not Falcon. Falcon. I'm Falcon walking here. She's gonna take a second, and then she's gonna go, he's not from town, but he's a prevalent researcher from the same town that the elf I was speaking to earlier comes from.
This seaside town, would she know anything about it?
Seaside?
Yeah.
It's lakeside.
Lakes. Oh, different body of water.
You take that back. Arcala and the Amethyst Citadel are two very different things. One is shoreside, one is lakeside.
Would she know anything about this elvish lakeside town? Are they, like, innately magical? Is he a Phaline, or not Phaline, a Leyline researcher, perhaps?
Is that what she's asking?
No, that's what I'm thinking.
So you're asking, what do you know about
Oh,
this?
what would Wynn know about this lakeside town first? And Christy is thinking that this guy is a researcher, and that perhaps the mayor is asking for his help.
You're gonna know that the place, making notes, it's gonna be called Crystal Bed Lake. That's the body of water it is around. Shimmer Wall.
Shimmer wall. They're like, yep. Those walls shimmer.
And what you know about it is it's a bougie place, akin to the City of Marble. Basically, it's a slightly magical place, slightly more magical than everywhere else place. The lake sits on a ley line, and people there will dive to collect crystals that grow upon the bed of the lake, seems to be renewable. The crystals just seem to grow out of nowhere. Not all of them are precious. A lot of them are semi-precious
Quartz
or like colored glass.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a higher frequency and an easier access to the precious gems than if you were having to mine for them and stuff. Basically, if you're looking for emeralds and you don't see any on the bed today, rip up the glass, the colored glass, and come back tomorrow and some might have sprouted up, kind of deal. It's like farmable crystals.
Yeah.
The name comes from the walls around the city, and like inside the city there's a lot of gem decor. The outside walls, they are these nice sturdy stone walls, but inside the mortar between the stones there is bits of the semi-precious and the colored glass from the lake bed. So when the light is shining on it, it sort of like gleams like prismatically back out into the forests. It's this higher class, semi-wealthy castle town where, due to it being on a ley line or near a ley line and having all of these cool properties, there is a small, I wouldn't call it a college, but a small circle of wizards who operate out of a tower that is run by a more experienced wizard, and that is probably all Wynn would know about this place.
Okay. That's very cool. I like the idea of crystal diving elves.
It is elven run, it's not elven exclusive.
I assume where there are elves, I assume there's gonna be like at least more, unless you don't like them.
Unless they get the sea elves.
What?
They have sea elves do the diving, so that way they breathe underwater.
Yeah. There's no risk.
So she's gonna say Talith is she's gonna say he's actually a wizard from that small circle of wizards that work and operate out of Shimmerwall.
I don't know. Because I don't want to ask Salah with help to get into the room, because then I would need to spend my money, and I still have to go to a completely new town. And if that completely new town has something that I want, I need money for it. But I also don't know how to get into this bar and look natural. I mean, I guess I could break into a window, but still, they're gonna be in the room, so how natural can that be? Even if I try to act like a server again, they're gonna just stop their conversation and, like, wait for me to leave, I would assume.
Also, did you do anything with the winery you asked about?
What winery?
You asked me...
Oh, fuck, I was gonna rob the place, wasn't I?
Oh, shame.
There's always a tomorrow.
You also have the diary you stole with the adamantine lock.
I do. I think what I'll do...
I'm just mentioning you have all these things that are going on right now. You have a lot of stuff going on.
What I'll do is, I'm still early for this right now. I already paid for my room, so I think I'll go up to my fancy room, and then I will try to pick this lock. And I'll try to read what this guy has going on. Whether I can pick it or not, I have a disguise kit. And I also have the things in the fancy room. So I would like to make myself look fancy. Very fancy. And it's a lounge, and you said that there's a bar in it?
Yes.
I think I will just go to the bar. I'll have a book. I'll bring a book with me. It's completely normal to read a book in a lounge, right?
Yeah, you could think of this as like an alcoholic Starbucks. Like a high-class alcoholic Starbucks.
Alright. But she'll get dressed up fancy. She'll have a book with her. The smartest looking book she can find on any shelf at all is hers.
So you leave from... You say goodbye to Salah, head up, go get ready.
Yes.
Dress up. Roll me... performance with advantage to see how good of a job you do dolling yourself up.
I rolled 2 5s in a row. Can that be a 10?
We can take your passive performance. 13.
Okay.
With a 13, I'm gonna say with a 13, the issue is you might have dolled yourself a little bit too much, potentially.
Okay.
You might attract the eye a little bit too much. So, you know,
it's just beauty.
so pretending to, like, trying to be...
It's hard being pretty.
Trying to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
To listen in could potentially be a little bit harder. Or not as easy as you'd hope.
Okay.
But yeah, so you get all dressed up, and as you head to the lounge, you see a human woman sitting outside, sitting just outside the lounge, with a book, and as you walk up to the door, they kind of sit up and close their book and look over to you, and they go, pass, please?
How do I talk my way out of this?
Or we could say you had already asked Sala about this, and you could try doing something else. Because remember, you have to either be important enough or buy your way in.
I don't want to use money, that's the thing.
I know. Sala probably would have told you that you can get passes from the barmaid.
But I would have to buy those.
You'd have to... Christy,
Thieve those?
Wynn doesn't always buy everything she has, now does she? But we're going to jump back again real quick, because you said you wanted to try picking the lock?
Yes.
Alright, so you sit down, and you stretch, and the first thing that immediately looks quite difficult is that
It's teeny tiny.
It's teeny tiny. Even the actual keyhole is small, so as you pull out your thieves' tools, your lockpicking set...
Damn.
And you look at it, you're like, but you think there's just enough room that you probably could do it. So now you're gonna roll. I'm not gonna make you roll because either way you fail. But
oh, okay.
But you start putting your thieves' tools in, and then you hear clunk clunk, and you pull your tools out, and your tools have been cut by what seems to be like a pair of like wire cutters.
This is my favorite set.
So now you need new thieves' tools, which cost 1 gold.
This is my favorite set.
Describe her set of thieves' tools.
This one, I think, is not gold, because gold's very malleable, soft. It's soft.
Malleable.
So I think it's a set of Damascus steel.
Okay.
Because carbon fiber is, like, new age, right? There's no ye olden carbon fiber.
Yeah, there would be no ye olde carbon fiber.
Damascus steel would just be the next best thing, right?
What do you mean next best thing?
As something like a strong, like, clearly, like, crafted metal for strength and durability.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to go, like, if you're trying to be, like, it's fancy and it's strong. Damascus steel is probably your best bet. What I will say is it's not the best bet in D&D.
Why? Oh!
Because you have other magical metals, but I'm going to say you don't have access to those because that would
okay.
give them extra properties. But we definitely could say you had a bougie set of Damascus steel.
I bought these because they wouldn't do that. Oh.
Then you hear Demos be like, there's always bigger fish, I suppose.
Came over it.
They were getting old anyways. I've had them for so long.
I've had them for like 6 months.
I love the concept of a thief that everything that they have is bougie. Like, they're like, my shoes are custom. My thieves' tools are custom. My crowbar that I use to break things open is bougie.
She has a silver-plated crowbar. Oh, I guess it's gonna be that key then. You said the key was gone when I went in his house, right?
That was a mithril key, and it was way too big to fit into this lock.
Oh, God, it's probably hidden
somewhere. I believe I said mithril. Everyone forget what I said before in the past episode.
It must be somewhere in his house then. Or on his person. It's probably on his person, actually. Stop making this hard!
I'm sorry. That happened. Now, you're standing in front of the woman without a pass. Unless you want to jump back in time and try to solve that.
Is there a way that I could sneak one out of... How do I do it inconspicuously? Would you just, like, go up and ask to buy one? Is that normally... You're making me use my brain too much, Daniel. I think I'd like Win to lie, and I would like her to tell this person, I'm just looking for my travel mate. I locked myself out of our room, and they have the other key. So I just would like to go and retrieve that. And they also have my pass.
And they're inside the VIP room, is what she's saying?
Yeah.
Roll me percentage. This has nothing to do whether you have you succeed or not. This has to determine whether you have disadvantage or not, and I will explain after the roll. Roll. You have a 35% chance to not have disadvantage.
80.
So you have disadvantage on your deception check. And I'll tell you the reason is because that percent chance was how busy is the lounge considered busy or not. If it was busy, then there's a higher chance that this person could be like, oh, of course someone in there knows you.
Yeah.
Okay.
17. Natural 20.
So 17.
Yeah.
Plus
but
7,
17 plus 7.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. You know, my room key. I just my.
No, she's rich, baby. She's like, that bitch is in there. I want my room key. I don't want to be standing out here.
Okay, and she's gonna be like, and she kind of peers into the room, and she's gonna be like, she kind of like glances you over, clearly assessing your outfit, clearly assessing whether you are rich enough for this to be true, and more importantly, with your passive insight, it's moreover of like, if you aren't supposed to be in there and you get caught, would she be yelled at for believing it, kind of deal.
Yes.
And she wouldn't, because you're dressed up all
so
to the
fancy.
Is dressed up to the nines a term? I feel like I've heard that before. I'm not crazy, right?
No, yeah, dressed to the nines is a term, but specifically to the nines is an idiom meaning to perfection or to the highest degree.
Okay, so I'm right. Okay,
yes,
there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're dressed to the nines, and she's gonna be like, go on in.
Thank you.
Oh, and would you please tell Robert I need a refill? Thank you.
You're telling me to do something?
And you get the sense that it was a test.
I am so good at Dungeons and Dragons.
And she'd be like, sorry, just checking. And you'd be like, go ahead, enjoy.
Okay. Alright, I'm in.
You're inside, and as you walk in, it is a breath of not fresh, because fresh is all the air that all the poor people can have by going outside. This is sterile, clean, perfect, designer air.
Oh, wow, okay.
As you come in, you walk in and you see this, like, I'm gonna say black granite, I don't know how else to describe it, bar.
Mm-hmm.
And you see magically illuminated is their lovely, I don't know the term for it, but behind the bar where they have all the counters and shelves that hold the drinks, you can see that there's definitely enchantments that are keeping all of that stuff chilled and cool. You see a orc man with his hair immaculate, standing in a suit, and he is shaking drinks and preparing them. He's the bartender, and he's there, and his tusks are like they have like caps, gold caps, with like a silver engraving.
Oh my god!
And he's standing there, and he's shaking his.
We're in a different
drinks.
tax bracket.
He's there shaking drinks. He's not wearing like a suit, but he has like the button up with the vest kind of deal. And he's standing there.
The de facto bartender, fancy
yes,
bartender.
the perfect bartender. I don't care how cliche it is. It's a good.
You're like, that's it. That's peak.
It's a peak.
This is the peak of perfection.
Look. It's like when you have a rogue or like any kind of like dashing but classy badass character.
Yeah.
It's always in the button up with the sleeves rolled up and then the vest. It's just perfect.
Chef's kiss.
I don't care. It's lovely. It's just like how every tiefling has to have the whore swashbuckler shirt. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
When you find peak archetypes, you found peak archetypes. It just I can't do anything about it. You know, he's there shaking these drinks, and in the room you see like there's several different areas to gather with multiple people. There's like basically a coffee table with like 4 very nice chairs, each draped with like special furs to make it more comfy and cozy to like lounge in. There are obviously like lounging chairs and whatnot. Think like roaring 20s kind of furniture, just furred rather than, what would you call it, Art Deco?
Art Deco is art.
Kind of stuff.
Like that stuff that I've been seeing at Ross that drives me feral.
Yes. There's not a lot of places to sit solo. Most of those seem to be at the bar, you know, bar stools and whatnot, along with a few places towards the corner and edges of the room where it is like a single, very small side table next to essentially like ye olde lazy boy.
Yes. Okay.
And you know, there's a few tables. You see that there's clearly like a game table or two, and it's pretty sparse of people in here. I'd say the room at maximum like full capacity could hold 45 people.
Yeah.
And right now there's maybe 8 in
Okay.
total. Let me describe the 8 individuals. You see a cluster of about 4 very rich looking dwarven men, gems braided into their beards kind of deal. I feel like Wynn would know that most dwarves use beards as a status symbol and stuff like that, you know, how well kept it is and whatnot. But along with that, there's a way to show wealth and to show status of, I'm fucking rich, I put my money and I put my gems and I put all this stuff in my beard. So you see that they're finally like twisted into nice braids that have like these gems beaded onto them. And you see that they're all talking and drinking while playing some kind of dice-based gambling game together.
Okay.
So that's 4. And then you'll see 2 elven women sitting very poshly, you know, savoring their drinks while talking, and they both are holding a copy of the same book. So it seems to be like a 2-person book club, essentially. A very sad book club.
As long as they're happy.
Or they're rich, either way. They don't want to associate with the poor. And then the last 2...
That's their guilty pleasure. She's like, only poor people have book clubs. But I really like what we have going on.
And if it's just us rich people, it's not poor anymore. Allow me to give myself an ounce of serotonin. I don't know why that's still stuck in my head. And the last people you'll see in is a halfling man and a human man. They're both at the bar, and they're kind of chatting casually while, you know, sipping their drink, and brings us into more of a high fantasy thing. But you see at the counter there is these crystals that are emanating sound. What you're hearing is essentially ye olde radio.
Oh, okay.
And you can hear some kind of like jousting tournament or some kind of like combat based competition that they're listening to. Kind of think like medieval sports bar is kind of the energy you get from them, and that's what you see when you walk into here.
Okay.
The walls also, I'll say, are, I want to make this gaudy, so they're like carpeted walls.
Oh God.
They're these like, not carpeted. What's the word I'm looking for? Suede.
Yeah.
It's like a suede wallpaper.
So everything's like sound.
Of like it's all kind of deafened. Yeah. But it's suede, and it's like this very deep blue.
Okay. What I would like Wynn to do is I would like her to order a drink to sip on, and I want her to try and find like the most like 2-person, like we're talking business far off kind of table that she thinks. Okay. Because this mayor is already like off-puttish.
Yep.
So I assume that he's going to choose the most like secluded section.
Yeah.
Of this place to talk business with this guy, or research probably.
Yeah. So yeah, you walk up to the bar, and this orc is there, and he's like drying a glass. And I love this joke, so I'm gonna roll with it. You notice that all the glasses and stuff are cleaned, and he's been cleaning the same glass since you came in.
Gotta keep busy.
But yeah, so he's just sort of cleaning a glass as you come up, and he's like, "What can I do for you?"
Hello, doll. Would you mind making me, tell me if I'm ordering this right. Wynn doesn't say this. She'll only say it the right way.
Okay.
I want a sweet, wet vodka martini. That sounds so nasty.
The funny thing is, I don't think it's a martini at that point.
It's just liquor.
Because martini, like, the staple of a martini is gin, so once you take the gin out, that's already weird.
She's hardcore.
Now you're asking for it
alcohol.
wet, which means more alcohol, so you're just drinking mostly vodka. You want it sweet, so now you're just adding simple syrup to vodka, so now it's just sweet vodka. You're just drinking sugar, water, vodka, and then you ask for it with no vermouth?
No, when you ask for it wet, you put in more vermouth.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah,
All right.
the sweet is for the orange twist. When you say dirty, that's for the olive. If you want it dry, it's less vermouth. If you say wet, it's more. And then I want vodka because it's... Wait, Lynn wants to get fucking plastered eventually. She might take the cup to her room.
So, yeah, you
I say this nasty, this, like... Oh, this erotic...
You should be put in jail for saying it out loud, drink. And yeah, the bartender nods, and he pulls out a martini glass and sets it down, and he is going to take... He pulls out like a stirring stick, and he sets it in the glass, and it starts to like turn itself in the martini glass. And you hear it like hum slightly, and you see a frost coming off of it as it's like chilling the glass for you.
Mm-hmm.
He goes off and he starts putting his ingredients, and he puts them. He doesn't put it into the shaker because I'm pretty sure martinis traditionally are stirred. That's why the whole James Bond of shaken not stirring is a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing is a myth. It's really weird because the reason why you stir a martini is because gin can be bruised. Which is...
What does that mean?
Oh, you can bruise the gin by shaking it because you're over-oxidizing it, and it gives it a bruised
I thought
flavor.
the thing with shaken not stirred is shaken, it melts some of the ice already, so that...
Doesn't matter
that
because
burn.
you stir it with the ice anyway, so it dilutes the same.
Mm-hmm.
If you're stirring a drink properly, you're going to stir it till the drink is just as cold as if you were shaking it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be the same amount of dilution, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, basically he takes his stick and he swirls your drink and he pours it out, and he's going to take a fresh orange and a knife and cut a little peel, and he's going to squirt some of the oil on top of your drink and make a little orange twist and put it on the side and serve it up to you. And also for in real life, doing the research to make an obscenely like, oh, yes, I know what I'm talking about. I want a fancy drink kind of thing. I want Wynn to take the inspiration points.
Thank you.
For everything that's been going on so far. For the you're telling me to get you some? To tell him to do something? All of this is insane.
I didn't even think that's what you were going for, but I'm just like, she's telling me to do something in the rich place? No! But I'm glad that my intuition paid off in that moment. Do I have to pay for this drink, or is this like we paid enough for our rooms and for the pass to get into the lounge, so this is basically like an open bar?
You get the sense that you will get a reasonable amount of drinks for free.
Okay.
And then you will have to... No! I feel like it makes more sense of, your room will be charged kind of energy.
Okay. Fantastic.
So yeah, you get your drink.
And then this perfect scenario in my head, you're the DM, so you tell me yes or no, but I was thinking that this table with the ye old fancy magical radio would be...
That's actually at the bar.
Oh, it's at the bar?
Yes.
Oh, never mind. Well, that was my plan.
Would you like to swap it to make it cooler?
No, I wanted it to be like they're more in the center of the room. And I could easily, like, congregate in there, like, hello, lads,
We could make the bar in the center of the room. That's always a very fancy thing to
That
have
is a fancy thing.
your 360-degree bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do it that way.
But I want to... It just seems easiest to integrate with them and, you know, be like, what do you have going on here? Oh, just, you know, don't mind me. I just have a few little research notes that I wanted to, and I thought this would be the perfect, you know, white noise for the background. Very interesting what you guys have going on here. But while she's having that conversation and socialization, the mayor and Talith, right? Talith are...
Balith with a T.
Over her shoulder, so she can have this conversation, but she can also try and, like, peep in on this conversation.
I'm gonna say... Yeah, you get to the center of the bar, and you come up to the halfling and the human, and you notice they're not as finely dressed. They're nicely dressed, but they're clearly, like, winding down after a day. You see, like, the ties are loosened, a few of the buttons are undone, and both of them are, like, hanging out, and, like, chatting with one another. And as you sit down, you notice that the human has, like, coal soot on his face. And you start chatting with them, and as you're talking, in comes the mayor, and behind him is this, like, bland-looking elven man. Kind of scrawny.
I mean, that's just elves.
That's fair.
Even scrawnier.
Yeah, but this scrawny elven man with like a pale red hair color, bordering pink.
Okay.
And they
like salmon.
Yeah, and they come on in, and you see this guy looks out of his element, like this high society, high class
stuff. He's a nerd
stuff.
that was thrown out of his house. That's what it is, isn't it?
No, because remember...
Does he walk like how Malice walks outside of his house?
No, you get the sense of, like...
There's not enough magic here to nourish his body.
No, how would I describe it? You get, like, it's less like, oh, I'm socially awkward, and more like, I'm confused why we're talking up here, and not in the normal bar, or, like,
he's
somewhere
humble.
else.
He's one of the people.
They sit down, and he sits down, and you see he kind of, like, the mayor kind of turns and gives a hand gesture to the bartender, and you get an inkling that the bartender is annoyed as he has to leave the bar, walk over to them, and...
What do you want?
Yeah, and of course he doesn't say it like that. He's like, how may I help you? And they order drinks, and you hear the mayor order a very fancy drink. The best way I don't know what would be an overly fancy medieval drink to order, so I'm going to order a modern day overly fancy drink. He orders what would basically be, I believe it's just called a hurricane.
The thing you had at Red Robin's?
No, that's not a real hurricane. I don't even know if I'm calling it right. No, sorry, a painkiller.
Okay.
Which is a famous tiki drink made with, like, a super secret syrup flavor.
What is it?
It's called...
I know you watch How to Drink. I know how he's like, it's super secret, but it's actually, like, pear
It
oil.
took a long time for them to figure it out, though. It was called something like... Oh, I can't remember. It was called, like, something syrup, but it was only, like, 1/20th that something.
Oh.
And it was actually mostly... I think it was, like, passion fruit flavor.
Passion fruit's good flavor.
And so, you know, he nods, and then he goes to the other guy, and he's like, what would you like? And he's like...
A drink?
He's like,
Water?
a beer and a thing of whiskey on the rocks. And...
He's using the beer as a
What'd you say?
He's using the beer as a chaser?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, actually, he would get a honey ale.
Honey.
Which is still basically beer.
Yeah. At least it tastes good.
Mostly. And he, you know, the guy goes to the bar, and he starts setting up their drinks and stuff. And he actually is setting them up, like, a chair or two over from you. And the two start talking.
What did they say?
You hear the scrawny elven man be like, so you've had me waiting for an hour or so now, and, you know, wasn't good then, now we can talk now, can we finally speak? And the mayor is gonna stop and he's gonna be like, roll me perception real quick.
12.
Okay. With a 12, you can see in the reflection of the cabinets, of the glass in the cabinets, you can see the mayor like looking around, making sure that no one is like trying to listen in on them, right?
Oh, boy, this martini's so wet.
Stop talking. And he is going to say, I need you to look over some information and tell me what...
Does he have his journal? Did he find it?
You see he has the book, and he's going to be like, I need to see if it makes any sense to you. There used to be a ley line here. I know that for a fact.
How old is the mayor?
Roll me history or medicine. Medicine's wisdom.
I will do medicine. 18.
With an 18 plus, do you know what your wisdom is plus?
I got a 17. I have a plus.
Oh, okay. And then he's going to... Oh, you're with an 18, you're going to tell he's late 60s.
Okay.
But he looks like 40, like 45, 48.
Okay. Keanu Reeves. No, Keanu's almost 60, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I take it back. He still looks really good, though.
And he's going to be like, I know for a fact it was here. My grandfather was here when it was going on. My father was here. And then it vanished. And I'm here. And I know it's here still. And he passes the book over, and he's going to be like, strange occurrences have been happening, and in my entire time here being as mayor, I have constantly gotten letters and stuff all about, oh, weird thing this, oh, my sprinkler exploded. Not sprinkler, because that doesn't exist. Like, oh, my shed has turned to stone. Oh, someone destroyed this. Oh, someone vandalized that. All these weird occurrences. And I started marking all of them. And then I started trying to find some myself, and I noticed a pattern. And he keeps talking to this guy about these occurrences as he's flipping through the pages of the book, and he goes, I found the pattern so well that I was able to find them myself before they even appeared. From what I know, these are all signs of the ley line being here. It's doing weird things to the area around it, just like people say, the wizards tapped into it when they first were here in the city, and it's like putting a spigot into a maple tree and just letting out the sap. There's openings into the ley line that are just letting this magic out, and that's why our town was so lovely before. Weird things, large farm animals, all of these wonderful new materials, and now it's stopped. I think it's still here. I think something's covering it up. And I think whatever it is isn't there always. And when it does, those spigots flood out. And that's the weird occurrences. And the wizard kind of goes, the ley line vanished years ago. It's,
Cope.
it happens. Ley lines shift, they move, and it's a strange thing. Some stay for millennias, apparently. Others come and go. And you hear, like, a fist slam onto a table, and everyone kind of turns and looks at the mayor, and the mayor kind of, like, realizes that, again, kind of like he's in public, and he kind of, like, sits up and fixes himself and, like, leans in to speak quietly, and as everyone turns back to what they were doing, and the mayor is going to be like, it is not gone. Something is covering it up. And then you're going to hear a few more words, and also whatever's covering it up is what's making everyone in the city act so fucking dazed. And you see the elf kind of, like, thinks for a minute, he goes, Perhaps whatever's suppressing the magic is suppressing something within them. And then you hear, like, this weird, best way I could describe it is like psychopathic laughing, as like you get the feeling that the mayor's like, finally someone is like agreeing and understanding me. And he's gonna be like, I've had other wizards come out, I've had other, studious people come and look at what I'm talking about or try to explain it, and they've all said I haven't had enough proof and that I'm just lying. And thank you for believing me even after I've had to gain all of this information. The wizard's gonna go, I have no clue what could be suppressing this, however. I will take this information, and perhaps once I'm back at Shimmerwall, I can discuss it with my colleagues, and I will send word of what their theories on what it could be, and you could do further investigation from there. And the mayor is going to shake what's-his-name's hand, and the two of them are going to sort of just slowly move the conversation to, like, other more general stuff.
Okay. Alright. What is it? At first... Well, my first thing, I was thinking about, like, oh, what if it's, like, another dragon's, like, aura, like, trying to shove it out? But I don't think the green or the copper dragon are close enough to...
They're several days away.
Yeah, they're several days away, so it can't be that. And then... I kept forgetting this was a ley line, and I was like, oh, what if this is, like, the Fae, like, popping in here and there, because it just wants to come through. And I was like, oh, wait, no, it's a ley line, never mind, that's not what it is. It's the goblin and the bear. That's what it is.
What goblin? Kobold.
Kobold. Oh. Ah.
Lose an inspiration point. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Ooh. Maybe I'll follow this guy to Shimmerwall. Be like, hey, figure it out because I need to know. I can't add anything useful to your information, but I can put a time limit on it. And then Wynn has a gun for some reason. She doesn't know how to use it. But she has a +3 to intimidation, which I did not realize until I read it out to you. Yeah, I think that's why I'm really glad that you acknowledged the day's citizens, because I was gonna be like, do they mention the town? Do they mention where these people are? What if it's a church? I think she will kindly ask the bartender for it's a shareable drink.
It's one of those massive fishbowl drinks that you see people buy that have like 6 straws.
What's a shareable drink that he's okay with her leaving off with to her room? He's like, hey, I only have one of those fish bowls. You can't take that.
Like a very big... You could ask for, like... Is there any way you could make, like, a 2-person Long Island iced tea?
Yeah.
We're going to call it an Amethyst Isles iced tea. Because that is one Long Island.
Yeah.
He's gonna nod, and he's going to make you that, and it comes in just a very tall tankard with 2 handles.
That's gonna be awkward because she's also going to ask, and also for, can you make whatever your friend out there drinks for me too?
Which friend? Oh, okay. He's gonna be like, no problem. And he goes and he brews some coffee, and then he...
Don't tell me it's a martini, espresso martini.
No, and then
Not what Ryan Seacrest drinks.
No, and he just gets a shot of whiskey.
Oh.
And just... No, sorry, a shot of bourbon. And
okay. It's coffee and... Okay.
Mixes
Isn't
it
that the
up.
Bath and Body Works scent? No, that's bourbon and coffee, isn't it?
That's what I just said. Damn it. Okay, never mind. Let's change it then. Fuck. She's not a Bath and Body Works.
It's either bourbon or whiskey. It's either whiskey.
It's bourbon. It's bourbon and coffee. No, he's gonna take... I'm gonna make up a stupid drink right now. Ooh, what is it? He makes an Earl Grey martini.
Oh, is it hot?
I don't think so. I think it's cold tea.
Okay. Whenever there is a hot drink involved, do they cool it down?
No.
Or is there, like, hot alcohol that's...
There is, and the issue is that it
burns
off,
oh, okay.
basically. And yeah, he makes it, and then he slides it over.
Okay, thank you. So she's, like, trying to, like, hold on to this very big tankard with one arm, and...
You definitely could, like, you could hold it, like, tucked into your arm,
mm-hmm.
if you're not using both handles kind of deal, and then hold the other drink in another hand.
And then she'll hold the other drink, and then she saunters her... Oh, she says... Did I say thank you? She says thank you.
Okay.
And then she takes the drink. She doesn't have an open hand, so she kicks the door.
There is no door.
There isn't a door?
The door doesn't open and close. Or, like, it's just an open archway into the room. I'll say it's, like, maybe like a curtain.
Uh-huh.
So you can kind of just brush outside the curtain.
Oh, so she brushes outside, and she Was this person sitting? Did she just sit? Does she have a little table?
Yes.
She just puts the drink on the table and she just keeps going.
You hear like a stammer like, thank you.
You're welcome. And she goes to her room to put down this massive drink. Well, I think I've done all that I can do about this ley line thing, except unless I go out and find whatever is causing this cover-up to begin with.
I mean, you have your theories.
I do have my theories. I guess I could walk around the forest for a little bit, like, just the outskirts. How often does this mayor go outside, anyway? He's looking inside, but what about the outside? I guess you could do that tomorrow. But she'll sit in her bed, in her big fluffy bed, and she'll think, something's covering it up. What could cover up a ley line? I wouldn't know, but maybe I'll take a walk around the neighborhood tomorrow. I'll bring Mallows. He could use fresh air. What if the churches are doing something? Like, inadvertently. Oh, what if it's like the division of the churches are angering the gods so much? They're trying to, like, they have a burlap sack over this ley line, and they're like, make up! Or else I'm not letting this out. But she sits there and she thinks, and then she gets overthinking. And she is going to take off all of her gaudy makeup and extra fancy clothes. And she is going to light a lantern, put it behind her, and sit facing her shadow. And she's going to say, hello, Demos.
And the shadow is going to cross their legs and cross their arms and be like, hello, Desiree Wynn. And like goes through like 6 other names. Don't worry, I know the real ones win.
So can you just read do you know my memories?
I'll say I've stuck around long enough that I could tell which one's the real one and which one's not.
Which one brings up the trauma? So you're not a curse.
Not by your definition, I suppose.
So what are you then?
See, now we're getting into the weird space of I don't think I should tell you.
I think you should, because you're very definitely on me. You don't pay rent.
I've helped you.
I take back my statement.
That's what I thought. Unless you would like me to toss that blue dragon egg out.
No, the baby! You'd have blood on your hands.
I've shot fire at a bear, a kobold. I've shot fire at...
Those don't count, they're not people.
That's racist, I think.
I think.
Am I not people? Just because I'm talking to you like
Are
this?
you a person?
I don't know if you don't consider a kobold a person.
Were you a person?
Am I a person?
I'm asking the question.
So, there's gonna be a moment. He's gonna be like, so what are you gonna do with that bottle of wine you stole?
What people do with wine?
See, I'm the one asking the questions. So you're gonna drink it or you're gonna sell it?
Why are you deflecting? She gets up more comfy on her bed. She's like, I thought this was a very good, lovely time for us to finally talk. And here you are deflecting. I'm a nice person. I'm an open person. I think you've seen that.
Open person, says the one who gives a new name to each town she walks into.
And people use it very openly.
Nice person, says the one who, steals and thieves and all that jazz.
I gotta do what makes me happy.
So if murder made you happy?
Thankfully it didn't come out to that.
All you need to know is that as long as you keep doing what you're doing, I'm happy. And as long as I'm happy, I keep helping. It's a win-win. Hey, like your name. See? Everything works out.
You're starting to sound like some of those mafia, like, I'll pay me and I'll protect you, but if you don't cough up my payment, then I'll hurt you, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, have I taken anything from you?
No, but I would really like to know how you got here in the first place.
All I'll say is the first person I worked with, they said one thing, they did another. The relationship kind of got rough and didn't work out. And this repeated a few times, and now I found someone who seems to say they're gonna do something and then do that thing, who's quite true to themselves, and that's kind of what I'm looking for, and that's why I'm here.
So that day at the market when I was with Lori, out of a crowd of God knows how many people, that feeling I felt, you had to pick me.
I didn't have to, but out of everyone there, you seemed the most, I'm not gonna lie. You're the one willing to do whatever's necessary to be happy. Take what you want, take what you need, kind of stuff. And that's what I was looking for.
It's a good answer. We'll end your interrogation for today.
Oh, so it's an interrogation? I thought we were just getting to know each other. Okay, I see how
I'm surprised you didn't come out and say that first.
Alright, and then you're gonna hear, as the lantern gets put out, go to sleep.
No.
You have a busy day tomorrow.
No, because I am going to go have fun. And she is going to go to Malice's house with this bread, soup, and alcohol.
Okay. And as she's like, I'm gonna go have fun, he goes, and see, this is why I picked you.
No, I'm not going to sleep.
As you're walking, Wynn notices the town is quite quiet and calm, and no one's coming through. And she'll see a very large cat that is the workhorse dragging... Sorry, there's two large cats. Being the workhorses dragging a cart with like a tent over it. And it's one all black cat with little white paws.
With socks?
And then, no, not, I guess like ankle socks, yeah. Just, and then next to him is this cat that is like a dusty gray with like a darker gray tabby stripes.
So silver tabby.
Sure, yeah. I didn't know that was a term. And I'm talking large, horse-sized cats.
Yeah.
But they are just domestic house cats. And
She immediately, stop right there! She comes up to she does not give a fuck about who's driving this tent or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Deck save.
I got a natural 1.
As you go to like hug the big black one, the silver tabby reaches around and smack, and it's gonna hit you. And no claws, just beans, really big beans that just smack, and you get knocked back about 5 feet and go prone. Just go.
Oh, and she gets up and she immediately tries again.
Deck save.
This one is...
You're trying to beat a 14.
A 14? I got an 8.
Bap, and you...
Oh.
And a head is gonna poke out of the tent. There's like an open side to the tent, like a shop side.
It's like, I need to do this, and as soon as I do, you'll be back on your way.
And you see it is this halfling woman with a big witch hat. And she pokes her head out, and she's like, Belle, Sally, don't smack them around.
Oh.
She can get a hug. One hug for free. After that, you gotta pay.
Wynn takes it as one hug from each for free. So she goes and she just buries her face into these large kittens.
The black one has this like little silver bell necklace, and so you know that one's called Belle, and you latch onto them, and there's gonna be like a confused kind of sound, and then you are going to be massage chair vibrated as you hear purring.
Oh my. Oh. And then she moves on to the next cat.
And this one, like, raises a paw to smack you, but then, like, puts it back down reluctantly.
The intrusive thoughts, they won at first, but they gotta keep them in check.
And Sally's there sitting, but it clearly does not want to be touched.
Oh, too bad.
And you hug on to Sally, and you get much less time, but the moment they start purring, you get a bap, 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 and like you're smacked off.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Have a fantastic day. That just made my night.
And you see that the person in the cart is like has been watching you, and they're, why don't you come on over?
I'm not paying you.
Oh, come on, please.
Why?
I insist.
What?
No,
this is
come on.
Going into it.
Come on.
My parents told me about. I don't have parents. My parents told me about going into strange tents with halflings.
I'm not telling you to
10
come
o'clock at night.
in. This is a shop front. Come on. There's like a...
I don't want
like
what you're
a
selling. No, she doesn't say that. She doesn't say that. She doesn't say that.
Oh my god, you are rude today, Chrissy. Jeez.
See, the cats are the what
Oh,
draw
that-
you. What? The cats are what draw you into the MLM.
Oh, yes. You've been trapped. You've been trapped by social constructions. No, that's not the term.
Damn, not the giant cats. They always get me.
Damn it! This is the third time this week. But yeah, as you come up to this lovely little shop, you'll be like, hello! Lovely to see you. Lovely to meet you. Yes, my name is Melby, the Witch of the Stars, and you see her hat and her outfit is all star and astral themed. And you are?
I'm Elena, the girl with no title.
Roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh god! Oh god! A 6.
You go to say Elena, and you are
This is a zone of...
forced to say win, and you say whatever you just said, but truthfully, as you are in a zone of truth.
She, like, when she says win, she's like...
Lovely to meet you.
I don't like this. I don't like that at all.
She's gonna say, apologies, but, you know, I like to be honest, truthful with my customers, and I expect it in return.
Then how about you let that thing do its thing on your side?
Well, I mean, because then you would have just lied to me, now wouldn't you have?
Some things are sensitive and need to be lied about.
Probably shouldn't say them out loud in the first place. If you're not going to tell me your real name, shouldn't tell me any name at all.
You asked! I didn't want to offend.
You could have told me you didn't want to give it to me. But no, instead you went to lie rather than tell me the truth of you'd rather not tell me your real name.
What is this? What did I step into?
Hell. And she's going to go... I have a feeling that you have something on your person that I might want.
Is this a stick-up?
No. I am a merchant.
I know how to deal with the short ones.
She's gonna laugh. It's gonna be like, I wish to make a trade. And she is going to reach, she's gonna step away from the counter. Think like ice cream truck style, like she walks away, like deeper into it, and she comes back. And as you're looking in, you realize it's bigger on the inside.
Oh.
And it's like this big place on the inside.
Because she's tiny. She gets that
reversal.
attribute, yeah.
And she comes back and she is going to say, I have a feeling you have one of these on you. And she's going to pull out a silver coin with a paw print.
Oh, yeah. I do. You didn't have to make me say my name out loud for that. You could have just asked.
She's going to say, again, you could have just told me you didn't want to
You could have just asked, too, and been up front. She's very upset that she said her name out loud.
How would you feel about trading that for something I have?
What do you got going on in that there? The tent. I'll trade it for one of the cats.
I'm sorry, they are most definitely not for sale.
Why not?
They will kill you.
That wouldn't be a terrible way to go out.
Oh, that's fair. Sally would make it quick. Oh, well, Belle would make it quick. Sally would play with you.
Doesn't sound awful.
I have a few items that I'd be willing to part with in exchange.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, if you decide to give me the coin, I will throw, and she's going to pull out a emerald pen. We're willing to give you this, along with whatever else you pick. And she is going to snap her fingers, and a pair of boots, a wooden box with a deck of cards inside,
Oh no.
a set of gloves, and 3 books all come out. And she will explain what all of these items do to win, but I will explain them to you. So this is going to be a little stale for a hot second. The first item is the Boots of Striding and Springing, which...
Cult classic.
Do you know what that is?
No.
No. It is, but while you wear these boots, your walking speed becomes 30 feet unless your walking speed is higher, so this doesn't affect you.
Mm-hmm.
And your speed isn't reduced if you're encumbered or wearing heavy armor. In addition, you can jump 3 times the normal distance, though you can't jump farther than your remaining movement would. So basically, while wearing these boots, you could jump 3 times as far and 3 times as high as you normally would be able to.
Okay.
The next one is a cult classic, Deck of Illusions.
Oh, deck of illusions. Okay, alright.
I'm not giving you the Deck of Many
Not
Things.
many things. Okay.
Yes, but the Deck of Illusions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that does. I'm not gonna go into all of that.
Yeah.
Another one which I feel you would like a lot, but aren't necessarily super obviously important to you. Gloves of Thievery. While you wear these gloves, they are invisible. And while wearing them, you gain a +5 to dexterity, sleight of hand checks, and dexterity checks made to pick locks.
That's cool. That's winning me over right now.
And the 3 books, the Witherbloom Primer, the Quandrix Primer, or the Lorehold Primer books. And I will explain what those do right now. All of these things will be reflavored in a hot second as I describe them in my universe. But I'm just telling you the flat what they do. Witherbloom Primer. All of these are from Strixhaven, which is the magical school book that D&D released. Mm-hmm. Witherbloom Primer is a magical textbook that has 3 charges and it regains 1d3 charges daily at dawn. If you make an intelligence, nature, or wisdom survival while holding this book, you can expend 1 charge to give yourself a bonus d4 to the check. So each book will basically do the exact same thing I said before. The only difference is the checks that they give you. So you get a d4 to nature or wisdom, or nature or survival with Witherbloom. You get arcana or nature with Quandrix, and you get history or religion with Lorehold. Along with that, if you study the book during a long rest, you can choose 1 first-level spell from one of 2 spell lists, and you can cast that spell without a spell slot infinitely, as long as you're holding the spell, as long as you're holding the book, apparently. So you could just magic missile, magic missile, magic missile, magic missile, apparently. If that's true, this is kind of busted. I think you could just do it once, maybe. But yeah, so you have...
You can just say it once, I don't wanna...
I don't know, I mean, if you want to, you could do that.
I kinda really just want these gloves, though.
That's what you choose out of all of them?
So, I learn a spell from the books? Is that...
For the first 2, Quandrix and Witherbloom, they let you choose 1 spell from the Druid or Wizard spell list, and you get to cast that once per long rest. Mm-hmm. And then after that long rest, you could choose a different spell, and then get to cast it. And then after that long rest, you can choose a different spell and cast it. That's what they all do. The Lorehold lets you do the same thing, but from the Cleric or Wizard spell list. Mm-hmm. And then the only other difference between the books is what checks they allow you to apply its bonus to.
Oh, okay. And I always have to pick 1 book?
You get 1 of the 3 books.
I kind of really just want the gloves.
Then take the gloves. I offered it if you want them.
Yeah, I want the gloves.
As you pick them up, they're like fine green scaled gloves, and like as you pick them up, you realize what they feel like.
They feel like the things I fought?
They feel like dragon skin. Or like dragon scales. Mm-hmm. Dragon skin. And yeah, kind of like the hounds you fought. You know, she explains their magical properties to you, and of course she doesn't describe them in stat-wise. You're like, oh, they're gloves that help you with, you know, very quick and dexterous actions, and like you get this weird sense that as she's speaking to you, it's kind of like thieves' cant, but it's more like you're intuitively understanding what she's saying, which is like, oh, they can help you pick locks and do dexterous things, sleight of hand wise. Blah,
yeah.
Blah.
Can I get a pen too? Is it just an emerald pen?
And she will give you an emerald pen, which is an actual magic item. You also get a emerald pen. This pen is tipped with an emerald nib, but in this case, the pen itself is emerald, and the pen tip will be bright yellow topaz, and requires no ink to write. While holding this pen, you can cast illusionary script at will, requiring no components. An illusionary script is you write on parchment, paper, or some other suitable writing material and imbue it with potent illusion magic that lasts for the duration. To any creature you designate when you cast a spell, the writing appears normal. All others, appears normal, written in your hand, and conveys whatever meaning you intend when you wrote the text. To any others, the writing appears as if it was written in an unknown or magical script that is unintelligible. Alternatively, you can cause the writing to appear to be an entirely different message, written in an entirely different hand and language, though the language must be one that you know. Should the spell be dispelled, the original script and the illusion both disappear. However, a creature with true sight can read the hidden message.
Okay.
So you get a secret message writing pen, and you get gloves of thief. and she puts her hand out to take the coin.
And Wynn will almost put the... But before it touches her palm, she kind of holds back. She's like, what is this?
I'm not fully sure. And sitting in the zone of truth, and from what she said before, you can guess or probably feel like she's telling the truth. Unless you don't know, and you might want to roll an insight check.
Yeah.
DM's first roll of the night.
Ooh, you're gonna have to roll high to beat this one.
She has a plus 50 to deception.
I got a 7.
Okay. You got a 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, she seems to be telling the truth.
She will put the coin in her hand.
She's gonna go, thank you very much. She's gonna take it and she's gonna plop it into it's not a coin purse, she has like a box, and she slips the coin in, closes it, slides it aside, and then she slides your pen and your gloves, and then the other items just all sort of...
She'll reach to grab her stuff. Good night.
Have a wonderful night. And then she is going...
And before the cats can move, she gets another hug in.
And she'll be like, hey, I said you'd have to pay for that.
You'll never catch me!
And then Sally's gonna try to pin you under her paw. Roll me dex save.
Ooh. What's my plus again? I was looking at the wrong plus.
Beating a 14.
I got 20.
Okay, and then you just start bolting.
And I go right to Malice's house.
Alright, off they ride. And you go to
Big cat.
Malice's house.
Oh, gato!
And you get to Malice's, and we will cut and say you have your wine, you have your food, you guys enjoy a lovely time. You rewarm the soup, of course, it's been a while.
Get some cold broccoli cheddar.
And that is where we will end session. Rating, highlight, low light?
Maybe 5.5, but the cats bolstered it up to a 6.
I'm offended, but okay. It happens. No, it's fine. No, it's okay. No, it's fine.
It was just really slow. I just had to take a lot of time to think, because it's...
And that's my fault that you have to think?
Well, I don't want to make
kidding.
it slow.
I'm just kidding.
Know?
It's okay.
Yeah, it's just that I don't want to always be asking you, like, oh, Daniel, what do I do next? Because it's just how I felt for a while with the ley line thing and the mayor. And even right now, it's like I kind of don't really know what to do besides take a walk with Malaz around the, like, outskirts of town.
Daniel will tell you at the very least is you, during this session, said a theory which would be the right course of action to pursue.
Oh, God.
You, Christy, have verbally said you had a concept of doing something or investigating something, or you made a connection that...
Is it the churches?
I'm not going to tell you,
okay,
because that defeats the purpose. But what I have done right now, what I've told you, is I've narrowed your possibilities. You know, out of everything you've said, all of your thoughts and stuff, that's it. You're already on the right track. You don't have to look to try to go somewhere else or do something else or, like, go for some out there other scheme. Again, it's not even like, oh, I think you have all the pieces. You have said something that, if you were to pursue it, would lead you on further to what you're looking for. So don't worry about that. And so you're giving it a 6 just because it took a long time?
Well, I don't feel like I know where I'm going. Like, I'm taking a lot of time to think because I'm just trying to think of things to do to get going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, like, Western RPG mentality of, like, I need a quest marker everywhere and anywhere to, like, be sure that I know where I'm going, where Japan's just like, yeah, we'll tell you something, and, you know, if you run into it, you run into it.
So, is it my fault? Would you want more Western? Do you want to just...
I don't want you to be like, oh, Christy can't figure it out, let me help her. But at the same time, it's just like sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do with these churches besides sit there and listen to them or, like, break in.
This is a story about a thief.
This is a story about a thief. But then my other issue is that what if one of her break-ins goes wrong? Then what am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to leave.
That's how thieves' stories work. If you get kicked out of town, Christy, you know what that means? You have a disguise kit.
You're right. You're right.
Oh no, Desiree got kicked out. Hello, my name is not Desiree.
Yeah, no, I guess I have to think about it more. I'm not a thief that lives on the run with 5 different names, and I need to start thinking like a thief that lives on the run with 5 different names.
What I'll say is I have not felt at all like I have to help Chrissy. It was more,
Not even during the puzzle?
no.
Okay.
It's more
Because I took a really long time doing that puzzle.
when I decide to help you and I give hints, it's less that I feel like I need to help you, and it's more like I'd rather push you in the right direction to avoid you getting frustrated, rather than be like, oh, well, I'm breaking the sanctity of my bullshit, you know? Like, your character's still gonna have to explore, you're still gonna have to be like, oh, Daniel wants me to go to this tavern and do this thing, right? Once you're at the tavern, it's not like I just give you all the information. I still, quote, quote, make you earn it. You have to figure out how to lie your way into a place. You have to... Do you go and steal a pass? Do you lie to get into the place? Do you break in through a window, sneak to the bathroom, get changed to look like you're supposed to be in there, walk back into the bar, and then go about your business? Do you pretend to be staff? Like, there are multiple ways for you to do things once you get to where you're supposed to be going. If you feel lost, the moment trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing, big air quotes, the moment that becomes frustrating is when I feel like I should step in. But once you get to a place and you know what you're supposed to do, but you're trying to figure out how you should approach it, that's when I'm hands off completely. I'm not going to mess with it at all. If you want to be like, I don't see any other way of doing this thing other than just blow up the building, like, I guess you blow up the building, you know? But then you think of, like, what if I get someone to help me dig under it, or break through the wall, or sneak in this way? That's all up to you, you know? And that's also what checks are for.
But so I fail those sometimes.
It happens. And that's why, as a DM, I feel like if a player feels stuck and you give them a roll, that if a player's like, oh, Daniel, would my character know of any other way of, like, sneaking in or breaking in? You, as a DM, should come up with 3 of your own. Pick whatever's the best one, whatever's the easiest one that'll make it easiest for the players, and set that one at the top. That you have to roll above a 20.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second best one is at a 15. And then the worst new option for them, that's the one that they get for free just for asking about rolling, kind of deal, right? So the player sees the only option is to bust in the door, and then they ask you, and they roll, and they get a 2. Oh, well, you could just bust in the door. You also notice that the place has a skylight, so maybe you break in through the skylight. Now you give another option. Still, it's potentially loud. Now you're in broad daylight trying to climb on top of a roof. Not the best second option. If they roll above a 10, then you're like, oh, you could go into the skylight. And also, you notice that one of the second story windows doesn't have bars on it. It's another way they can get in. And then finally get a 20, you go, you notice that there is a cellar with cellar doors on the outside. You could sneak in through there. Now you have a gradient of all the different ways that they could get into this building, and they can roll for it. And again, you're just giving them more options and stuff like that. That's my thoughts on these. So 6, obviously your low light is just being slow.
Yeah, just being slow, because I'm just taking a lot of, like, time to think. Because to me, it's just like, I feel like there's a right answer, and I'm just trying to...
baby, there's no right answer.
But, like, that's just how I'm going to think, you know? Like, I just think, I'm like, there has to be a right answer, and I just can't think of it right now. I don't know what is the, or at least the most optimal, but I just want something that's the safest thing to do, and it has the most reward at the end of the day, and it takes a lot of thought, and it doesn't help on top of that. Like, sometimes I just don't know where to end up going.
Would you like me to try helping more often, or are you good with how it's been going? It's just a little slow this session specifically.
I don't know if I'll need help or not. Maybe with the church things I might, because I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I end up... I didn't feel frustrated, I just felt kind of embarrassed, because I just took a long time to think about.
They won't know.
I know, but I do. You're the one that's sitting in here with me. We started playing at, like, 11:30, midnight.
We started playing at like 12:45.
But still, I took a long time to think of things. Like, I just like having a plan.
Step 1 of having a plan is staking out and getting intel. That's that's thieving and breaking into stuff 101. So think about your first quest, right? You wanted to have a plan before you broke into what's it called, right? So you asked Falcon for extra information. That was step 1, baby. And then Falcon gave you a direct, easy quest to get the information. So you went, got your perfume, did the perfume quest, which was a smaller scale breaking and entering thing where you went, gathered information, broke in, got the thing done, left, got your information for the other thing, made a plan for breaking in there, went in, broke in, did your whole thing. That went relatively smoothly for breaking into a museum. And see, that's the whole process. So right now, you need, in theory, information on the churches. You have Sala, who is a Thieves Guild contact that you can ask, like, hey, do you have like a map, or do you have any information on any weird stuff going on in the churches? Like,
yeah, I'm also a cheapskate though, so I don't want to pay for anything.
You didn't pay for anything with Falcon. You just had to do him a favor.
I guess.
And also, you have a winery to break into for money. So.
I do.
Anyways, highlight at least.
Yeah, you get those. No, well, how do we start the session?
We started the session with you getting the Malas after the ley line and the church thing. And then you broke into the mayor's houses, part 2. And then that gave you the information on the tavern. And then you're like, I want money. Baby want power. So then you talk to Sala, and then you got a small grunt work job
to add that gold to my inventory.
To get 50 gold by dropping some coins and some letters off. Then you had...
I honestly kind of like doing the grunt work. It made me a little stressed because I had to think of, like, different ways. I know you expected me to do it different ways, but I was like, I'm running out of ways to slip coins into people's pockets. But I like,
Well, the thing is, the trick wasn't also just, like, slipping into pockets. It was how to make it look like an accident, or how to get to them, like the servant one, you know? Like, the difficulty wasn't getting it into his pocket. Kind of was, but you didn't have to make something new to get into his pocket. It was just, how do you make the excuse of getting up?
But it's still the creativity and thought of doing the action.
Yeah. I liked it a lot.
But I do like the scene, and I do like the idea of Wynn's like, I'm young, but I'm not inexperienced, so I'm gonna bam, 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 get this stuff done and get it done quick and successfully.
I like it a lot because it gives us like a slice into Wynn's like basic thievery life of like going around doing little things and
doing little crime.
Of course, this is like having a task to do, but like you could see it obviously in reverse of like. Maybe not the shop one, the first one, but like the like, oh, there's obviously some people who just have their coin purses out that you could just slip a coin into. Wynn probably did that in reverse as a kid, where she just would be like, oh, people just leave their purse, takes a few coins, you know, and then like the yelling at someone and bumping into the guy, and then instead of putting a coin down, she would just take some of the money, you know, and be like, they're not going to notice a few gold coins out of their gold pile. And, you know, same concept with the other one of, like, reaching into their pocket to slip in a coin, but reach in the pocket and take maybe a piece of jewelry out or whatever, you know? Oh, let me dry your arm off, I'm so sorry, and takes off watch and takes it with them and all that, you know?
What would... Because you keep having Demos interacting with Wynn, but I'm so caught in the moment that I don't interact back. If Wynn thinks during the market... vendor guy, if Wynn thought, wow, what a coincidence that someone's having the exact same conversation that I'm pretending to have, would Demos say anything?
Yes. Demos would be like, yes, quite a coincidence that just a random disembodied voice appeared out of nowhere to help you. Oh, where have you heard a disembodied voice before? Like, you know.
I need to start doing that more often, because there are things, like, with the Fae fountain thing, Wynn totally just thinks that it was just part of the fountain gimmick thing. Like, that's just what she thinks. And I need to say that out loud so that if you want to have Demos say, like, no, you fucking idiot. It's me! Me!
You have a male tsundere, I think is pretty much how I've been portraying him now that I think about it. Where he's like, yeah, you stupid asshole. Anyways, keep doing what you're doing.
I think it's funny. I think it's cute, too. The rivals to lovers. But, I just, like, I'll be in bed and I'll be like, fuck. That's the ley line thing. That happened while we were in bed. I was like, Daniel, was that Demos or was that the thing? And you're like, it was Demos. And I was like, man!
Unseen servant's a wild one, you know?
I guess, yeah. Yeah, I need to start saying stuff out loud more, because I wanted her to say it, and I was like, I'll say it later, but then I never did say it, so. But whatever, there's gonna be more opportunities in the future for that. I need to do it because I eventually want Wynn to be like, oh, I don't have to talk out loud to this guy. I can think to this guy. And the only thing people will be creeped out about is like, why is this girl rolling her eyes in the middle, like, by herself?
Why is she gesturing, doing, like, not speaking, just...
She's Italian, honey.
She's speaking with her hands. She's deaf. I don't know FSL. Fantasy Sign Language.
But yeah, anyway, that little slice of thievery life was very nice. Don't make me do it again for a very long time, or at least in a different scenario, because I'm all out of the creativity for that one. I was so relieved when you were like, oh yeah, you get 2 of them, you slip the coins, and the coin purse was like, oh! I don't have to think of any more things. I'm very excited for these gloves. These gloves are literally... I don't know why you would think I would pick anything else. Not being mean. I know you took the time to, like, look through, but I was like...
It's the issue with D&D items, is some items are too perfect for a character. It's like, why would I not take that?
Yeah.
And some items, like, seem really stupid. And it's like, why would I want a 3 times jumping distance? Till you realize that if you have a jump ring, and those, you could then have a 9 times jump distance.
You would fall and take damage.
Jump height, yeah, but that's if you don't grab onto whatever you're gonna grab on, and you have a plus fucking 7 to acrobatics, so like you're not gonna grab a ledge. It's just, some items are like too obvious. I offered those books because Wynn's not the brightest, so I figured
I thought, because you can also have Demos do this, honestly, if you're like, I don't want to directly give Christy a thing. Wynn's nice, like, so if Demos is like, a baby wants power.
Baby want book.
Baby want book. Really? You want something? You baby want book?
Yes. Baby want book. But again, the issue is I want any item I give you, even if I make Demos want it, it's for you to mess around and it's for you to play with. So I'm not gonna dictate the choices for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be like, Christy, it would be optimal because your character's fucking stupid to get this thing, which will help you not be stupid. There's no reason for me to like force you into that when you could just make the decision yourself. You made the decision that stabilizing your character out isn't really a necessity. You'd rather take that one thing she's really good at and make her really, really good at it,
Yeah.
And that's completely fair. It happens, By the way, now you have a 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus 12 to picking locks,
Yes,
and then
I do.
you have proficiency with thieves' tools, so that's advantage, so you have advantage to pick locks with a plus 12. Anyways.
I'm never missing this lock, babe.
My
other highlight was being so in character at the bar when I went in.
Be like, you're telling me? It was a test, I'm sorry.
But you saw how excited I got out of my chair, and I was so good at. I'm so good at Dungeons and Dragons, Daniel. I just need to think faster.
So your highlight was slice of life scene. Low light was it being slow. 6 out of 10. I will give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Enjoyable. I agree it was slow, but I always feel like if it's slow, it's my fault.
As you sit here watching me, like, drool coming out of my mouth, I'm like,
Yeah, but it comes down to, like, as a DM, I feel like you don't want to make your players feel stupid in the first place, right? And it's one of those things of when you can see the answer, it's like, well, no fucking shit, this is the answer. Why aren't they picking the answer? Come on.
Yeah.
Which is why I like when I set up a scenario that I don't even know the answer for. Because then it makes me think things through with my players. When I'm like, yeah, you have a VIP room you have to get into. And I don't immediately be like, there's this many doors, this many windows, this is the answer to the... And I'm just like, it's a VIP room, you have to have this pass to get in, and there's a person watching the door. That's the entirety of the difficulty of the puzzle. Figure it out yourself. And you're like, ooh, where can I get one of the passes? And I'm like, you probably get them from the bar. And then you're like, okay. And then you're like, okay, I could steal one. Can I sneak in? Oh, there's a person watching, but maybe you could do blah, 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 and lie your way. And you're like, okay. And then you could always ask the question of, like, is there any other way into the building? And that's when I'm like, yeah, probably a few windows, And, like, I really like it that way. I like improvising those scenes because, again, you as a DM get to see the situation from the same end as the players, rather than you knowing the complete answer key to how to get the easiest way into the building or easiest way into whatever, and then be like, why haven't the players asked me to look in the garden to see if there's any rocks that they could lift up to find the hidden key that unlocks the door for them to get in? Why would you not ask that question? It's like, it's not something that comes up in D&D all the time. Now, if a player came up and I hadn't set up a scene, they're like, does this person, you know how people hide keys under the mat? Can I see if they have any spare keys hidden? I'd be like, huh, I never thought about it. Yeah, roll investigation. Maybe they do, you know?
Maybe it will.
Roll percentage to see if it's there, and then have them roll investigation.
I honestly love rolling percentage dies. That's not something we never did in the Amethyst campaign, except that one time where I killed the fucking mayor accidentally because I got like what?
A 1%.
I got a 1%.
You got a 1.
I
gave you
one.
a 1% chance, and you rolled a 1.
That's the put that on my gravestone. But I love rolling percent dice. Like it's really like they're hard to read sometimes, but like I really do. I really do like it.
I like it in this setting because player asks question. No matter what the DM gives the answer, one of two things is going to happen. Either A, the DM's making it too easy on the player, making it too convenient for the player, or they're making it the opposite, and they're trying to make it hard for the player. Oh, Daniel, is there any X thing that I could use for this specific purpose that'll completely fuck over your puzzle? Because if this thing exists, I found a solution to the puzzle, right? Kind of deal. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, if I say no, I'm an asshole. And if I say yes, I ruin my puzzle completely. So roll percentage, and therefore it's out of my hand whether or not it's a thing. And then I kind of think of a realistic thing, like whether or not a VIP room was full, right? It's a VIP room in a small town that isn't super rich anymore, but they still have rich people, right? Mm-hmm. So I figured there's a chance on certain nights that the place might be full, but not every night. So I made it a 30% chance, a lower chance of it being packed kind of deal. And I feel like that was fair. I made up a reasoning. I gave the power to the dice, and the answer was out of my hands. I like that kind of stuff, you know?
Did you have an idea for the radio guys? Why were they covered in soot?
Oh, I do have a reason, and I mean, you probably, if you were just
I was talking with them.
With a casual conversation, you would have found out that one of them is, like, a manager of a coal mine.
Oh. What the fuck was the radio there for, then?
They were listening to sports.
Sport?
Yeah, I told you, it was like a jousting competition with, like, combat sports. They were, like, listening to basically, they were listening.
Spectators? Or,
yeah, they were.
Or announcers?
Yeah, essentially that's what they were listening to.
Oh, shit.
They were, I told you, like a sports bar. They were just listening to a game.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Two bros going to watch the baseball game and drink some alcohol. That's what they were doing. Yeah.
It's nice to know that there are some recreational activities to listen to on the olden radio.
Yep. So, I like percentiles now a lot. It's a lot easier to do it with one player, and I think at max, if you had a very good close-knit group of 3 players, you probably could do it. I think 2's the maximum of just, like, doing it in general. Mm-hmm. 1's really easy to do it. But, I feel like if you had any more, then it'd be like, oh, is this a thing? Oh, roll percentage. Mm-hmm. Now you're wasting time rolling dice and time up. And it's like, as a DM, I could do it, but I like letting the players roll, because who doesn't like rolling click-clack shiny dice?
Yeah, that's the point of D&D, baby.
It's the best part about D&D, is rolling the dice. You hate when you get the answer of what came out, but you love rolling it. Yeah. Which is really funny, because I only rolled 1 dice roll this entire game. I didn't use a set of dice, except for once on a lying check, and that was it.
All for combat.
No, but I'm saying I like it. Mm-hmm. I like that I'm able to just sit here and be like, roll me percentage to see if this happens. I like it. But 7 out of 10. I agree it was slow. Again, I don't like making players feel dumb. I don't like players feeling like they have no direction. Everyone always talks about this. This is a big D&D talking point of why players always say they don't want to be railroaded, but in reality they do. You know, kind of.
Because we're a mirror.
Yeah, and it's like no one. I mean, also it's like one of those things of technically your character doesn't have any reason to go do stuff. Wynn, with 100 some gold pieces in her pocket, doesn't need to go on adventuring. She doesn't need to poke around these churches. She doesn't need to fuck around with this mayor. There's no urgency. There's no problem. There's no, like, my family is on the line. There's no motivation for your character to just go do things that are reckless for no reason. It's one of the sayings that everyone always brings up of, like, a happy character is never an adventurer.
Yeah.
Every adventurer has a problem and has a reason why they're out adventuring. If they didn't, then they wouldn't be adventuring. They'd be off enjoying their nice, happy life. And so, like, that's the problem with Wynn right now in my mind is...
She's young and dumb. She wants to do everything.
No, I know, but she has enough money to survive, which she doesn't want to survive. She wants to make money, and I think that's the issue, is that what she's pursuing right now won't give her money. Pursuing that dragon thing would give her money, and maybe that would give her more of a reason to like, pursue that kind of stuff. But, I mean, you also wrote her as curious, so lean into the curiosity. Like, I have to know. Like House, like, I have to know the answer.
Yeah.
Why are there 3 churches?
Yeah.
But in most D&D...
Why is that chicken big?
In most D&D groups, they don't have that, or it's like it becomes disruptive. You know, if you have a player who like character who always likes fighting and has to fight everyone, and their whole goal is just fighting the strongest people, and they travel around to find these fighting places with the most strongest fight people, right? That could be very disruptive when other players are trying to do like an investigative thing in one town and there's no fight people there, and it's like...
It's only smart people.
Exactly. Oh, I need to go find fight people.
Yeah.
And you run into disruption of this person's goals or somewhere else, or like another person's goal is like, I'm gonna stay in this town and sit here forever and do nothing but stay in this fucking town and never leave because my character doesn't have any motivation to leave because they found something that actually made them happy. In that case, retire your character. If you let your character become too happy, retired.
Yeah.
Shoved to the side.
Straight to jail.
Straight to jail. Gone. Over. Because completely happy and content characters don't
risk.
Don't leave. Why would you risk a perfect, happy, everything okay life at all? And then that forces another thing on...
That's why on the Amethyst Isles, Rex is happy farming.
Yeah. He's not gonna go out adventuring. He's happy. His family's safe. He has a wife. And he's got plenty of farmland. And he gets to live out his life doing what he enjoys, which is tending to nature. He should have been a druid. Too bad he didn't grow up with
The world didn't hand them those cards, but...
Yeah, but so they handed him a big fucking sword,
yeah.
So he did what he had to do. But it's one of those things where a lot of people talk about, like, you should never put in your story... Never let your character's family be alive in your backstory. Because if they do, the DM is going to use them against you. Well, in some situations, yes, your DM will be vindictive and use them for cheap, like, you use them for character development? But in other cases, it's because your character becomes too content. Like, your character's happy, and it's like, the DM needs to push you to do something, and they're like,
Your family's kidnapped.
Your family's been kidnapped, sorry. And it's like, well, now your character's forced to go do things, because if they don't save their family, then they're not going to be happy, and so their happiness is now in jeopardy. And that's one thing that DMs always have to do. So either make your character a bastard who is never able to be satiated with what they have.
I think that's what they did in Dragon Age. I think that's why they killed your mom. Yeah, Dragon Age 2 takes place because all these people are fleeing because the Darkspawn from Dragon Age 1 are, like, coming across the country. Mm-hmm. And they're like, we're gonna go across the fucking ocean.
A very fucked up migration.
Yeah, we're gonna go across the fucking ocean because they can't get us there. And
Can Darkspawn not swim?
Not for, like, 3 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they die. They're mortal.
That's when they get Darkspawn whales.
Well, then what happens is that the Darkspawn simply spawn on the other side of the country. But no, there's a set point at what they spawn.
That's terrible. We're safe, we made it across the ocean. What?
So anyway, all of these people, I don't know if Thetis is the country.
Everyone from Continent 1 goes to Continent 2.
Continent 2, and to this specific city, and everyone's disgusted because they're like, our city's full enough, I don't even know why we're allowing these peasants, and a lot of people don't make it in.
Oh boy, immigrant story.
But you do make it in. And I forget how, but anyway, you're still at the very, like, bottom of the bucket, like, of the chum bucket, not even, like, a nice bucket. You're at the very bottom of the sludge bucket, and you are just, like, such a little bastard that you get in trouble, but you get in trouble doing shit that, like, puts you on the map, and makes you a reliable person, and that's why you become the champion of Kirkwall, because you do all this shit and you basically like solve all these problems that like the bureaucrats wouldn't do themselves. You're the one that gets your hands dirty. But you go from living in the slums to living like in the higher up area, because it's literally tiered. Kirkwall is like a mountain. The poor people live at the very bottom.
And visual storytelling.
And then the rich people live literally on top.
Literally started at the bottom, now you're here.
And you get to the top, right? And then eventually, like, all your friends are doing fine. Anders hasn't bombed the church yet. And all your friends are doing fine, and Danny, you know, Meryl's getting used to, like, living as a city elf and not as a Danish elf, and being a blood mage and doing her stuff, and Fenris is still fucking racist. But he's not like he's a free man.
But he's a free racist.
And your mom is like, I think
the most American thing.
Freedom of speech. And at this point, I think your sister doesn't do well because she's forced to be in the mage tower because she's a mage, but I think your brother does okay because he's a Templar.
I thought one of them dies.
They do. You have a brother and a sister at the beginning of the game.
Oh.
But then one of them dies.
Doesn't depend on what you choose. If you're a martial character, your brother dies, and if you're a mage, your sister dies?
I think so. But if you can just, like, let it play out, and then you can just command console to change your class, and because the sister's just the better character. The brother's a dickhead as far as I remember, and the sister's just like, be whoever you want to be.
I mean, that's what happens when you join the Templars, where they're like, kill they're not very well disguised fantasy Nazis.
No, that's exactly what they are.
I know, exactly. It's just it's
but anyway,
that's valid.
Like, your brother or sister are either doing content or doing good, and then your mother's even like, you know, it's been a long time since we lost your father, I think I'm gonna start dating. And that's when your mom gets fucking kidnapped, abducted, dissected, and reanimated as zombie form. And I'm like, and like, Hawk kinda go, because like, ultimately you're in control of the character, but Hawk ultimately kind of goes in this downward spiral, and just starts, like, doing more stuff, but I'm like, that was like a push forward for them to keep going and, you know, not be content. But it was so cheap. I remember it playing out and I was like, this is fucking awful.
And that's why you have to give a character either make them be chasing happiness eternally, have like some other like ambition or like an unsatiable desire for something, or you have to give them like trauma that forces them to eternally, like, pursue something. Like, oh, my character was, you know, like, caught up in a war as a child, and, like, they saw the horrors of war, so now they travel around the world. They'll never settle down because their entire goal is to travel around the world and protect, like, the innocent from the horrors of war. Mm-hmm. Because they know the pain of that, right? And that character will never be, ever, able to just settle down and be happy and not go on adventures, because wars always happen, problems always arise, evils that will affect the innocent are always going on. So that character, if played what I would consider right, would basically, even when the world looks at peace, this character would be like, yeah, it looks at peace, but now I need to be vigilant and, like, keep an eye out, because who knows? Who knows when the next war is going to start up? I need to be ready for that. So that way I can be the one at each of these innocent villages to make sure the war goes around them, mm-hmm. and not through them, mm-hmm. kind of stuff. And that's what a lot of players don't do, and so it ends up being characters pursuing a very basic avenue of happiness, like, oh no, my character's lonely and doesn't have anyone. But instead of binding to the party and being like, my party's my family, they bind to X NPC that they romance and then stay in that city for eternity. Because why would you fucking ever leave that city?
Yeah.
Once your character's content and happy and has steady income and has all of the things that they care about fulfilled, why would they ever go do anything?
But Wood's okay, though, because the second she gets money, she spends it all.
Yeah.
And then she's forever curious, so, yeah.
And then even if you have her stop doing that, you could always just be like, Win secretly is 1/40,000th dragon, and the dragon blood in her is like, we want to collect the shiny. And then she's like, I'm done spending money, but I'm not done hoarding it. And so, like, every time she gets money, she just sends it to her gold hoard that she's growing ever so bigger.
Yeah.
And, she's compulsively always looking for money. Just
Yeah.
like, she's like, I don't need money, but I need money.
I want money.
Exactly. Like, she becomes Jeff Bezos. She doesn't need that massive pile of gold at her house. She doesn't need to do this job for 4,000 gold pieces. She has 7 million at her place, but she wants that 4,000.
She wants 7,004,000 gold
Exactly.
pieces.
So that's a type of character, like, the character who's insatiable for knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You could have that character be like, oh, you're looking for this little spell you're trying to learn. Oh, you're trying to learn this spell, or you're trying to learn this magical lore. And then you're trying to learn the secrets of the universe to make this new spell, and you're trying to do this thing to uncover the mystery. You can just always have that character find a new special information to seek out that may or may not have an answer. And since it may or may not have an answer, why did you spray it? It's super powerful.
It's my winter candy apple hand sanitizer.
Oh, okay. And they're like, they can always chase it on a wild goose chase for eternity. And that's how you get lich characters, or Mordenkainen and all that kind of stuff from normal D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Or a character whose goal is to slay an evil that can never be killed. And
Yeah.
so they're on an eternal quest. And that's how you make a character for D&D that will last further than, like, level 6.
Mm-hmm.
Although if you're only playing to level 6 at that point, then make sure you have a character who's satiated by level 6.
Who would want to just only play till level 6?
A lot of people stop at level 8.
What?
That's where their campaigns end.
I can understand not going to level 20, because some of the classes are like, you can crit on 18. No, wait, isn't it fighter, you just regen health, right?
Fighter at level 15 regen. Level 15? Champion fighter specifically. Champion fighter at like level 15.
But it's like, oh boy, I regen like 5 health every round. Too bad everything does 60 fucking damage at this point. Yeah, that's really gonna help me.
It actually does, especially when you consider that most fighters who go that path have like 24 armor class. So some rounds they just don't get hit at all, so it's just plus 20
yeah,
HP.
but Daniel, you know what the to hit to most monsters are at that point?
Not a lot.
Oh, okay, never mind. I've never been a DM.
If it's grunt monsters, yeah, it's pretty high, like plus 8, plus 9.
Mm-hmm.
But plus 8, plus 9 is still lower than 50% chance to hit a fighter with a 24 armor class.
Mm-hmm.
The characters you have to worry about are the dragons, who have a plus 12 to hit. But guess what? With a 24 armor class, Christy, that's still less than 50% chance to hit you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, holy fuck, we went on a tangent. A super long tangent.
Well, that's the end anyway. This is where I put them.
That's true. But, Lowlight was... I let it be slow, and I let it be aimless. Oh, that's where I was. I remember the original conversation. Oh my god, there we go. I that's the ADHD thing that I absolutely... It's the one part about ADHD I love. There is a satisfaction of, like, pulling yourself along the tangent back to what you were originally trying to talk about.
Allow myself to give myself an ounce of serotonin.
Yes. Oh my god, I love it. It's just like an endorphin rush of just joy.
But before you lose it again, what were you?
A dopamine drip. It was... I was talking about railroading. A lot of people talk about, like, oh, you don't want to railroad your players, because players hate railroading, of you giving them quests and directly go to this location, do this thing, and then quest, and then go to this location and do this thing. And so on and so forth. People don't like that, and people always say that they don't like that. But then they're like, we want a sandbox. I want to be able to do whatever I want to do, whatever my character wants to do. And then you're like, okay, your character ends up in this open town. Here's a little bit of lore about the town. Here's some plot hooks. Here's some weird characters that obviously you can investigate to get more information about. Here's some plot hooks to, like, oh, someone said that there's a mysterious silver wolf running through the woods. And then the players are like, there's nothing to do. I have my DM just hasn't given us anything to do. I don't know what's going on. My character, like, I'm really bored. And then, like, you know, I wish I would, and it's like, they confuse the freedom to choose for there being no real option. A lot of people talk about how you shouldn't railroad your players, but instead you should. People say that there's two things: there's sandbox and there's railroading, and then some people say that there's a third option. I think that there's more like 4 options.
Landmarked sandbox.
I guess 5 options, but yeah, a lot of people say like there's railroading, there's sandbox, and then their alternative is the unseen railroad. What you want to do is you want to make you want to railroad your players, but you want to make it not look like you're railroading players. So your players don't want to feel like they're on a train stuck on this track going in this direction. But instead, there's these 2 massive mountains and 1 narrow pass that they can go through. Sure, they could try and go up the mountains, but those options are really hard and obviously aren't as good as the option of going right through the pass. And essentially, you just sort of do the concept of like flowing water. Flowing water takes the easiest path down a mountain kind of thing, where you just make the easiest path the railroad path you want them to follow.
Yeah.
Another way that I like to think of it is players think that they want to just be dropped into a sandbox, dropped into an not an empty, but a big, vast forest, right? They have all of this forest to explore, all of this untamed nature, and just a bunch of things to explore and do whatever they feel like. But then they feel like they can't do anything, or they don't want to do anything, and they have a hard time motivating themselves and their characters to do stuff. So I would argue that the better alternative is a forest filled with walkways. A forest that has paths that are clearly, like, paved, but there's no fencing, there's no rails, there's nothing saying that you can't walk off into the forest into any direction you want and find a different trail. You can make your own trail. Follow the trail you're on. Maybe the trail splits down the way, you know? That kind of deal. Where it's like, this is what you're supposed to be doing, this is what you can go do, but if you don't want to, nothing is actually making you do it. And then your way of landmark sandbox is probably another way I would explain that, of like, sure, you're in a big, empty, vast forest, but there's a big, shiny, glowy thing over there, and there's a big, dark, spooky thing over there, and there's a big, bright, it literally blinds you thing over there, and also there's a giant wolf behind you, but ignore that for now, because I want that to be a surprise. By surprise, I mean roll initiative. Anyways, like, you know, that kind of stuff. I think those 2 options are the best out of them, in general. I think those 2 are, like, truly what people think a real sandbox is. The issue with the full-on sandbox mode is that it requires the players to find landmarks or find quests and stuff like that, rather than like there being some obvious starting points for them to be like, maybe that giant blood red rock that's just floating in the middle of nowhere, maybe we should ask someone about that. You know, the one that just hums ominously and dealt psychic damage when we walk past it? There might be something to that. 7 out of 10. There you go. That's the end.
I'm glad you had a rating higher than mine.
Yeah. Because I don't...
I just remember you saying that you feel like you can't.
Yeah, I know. But that's why I'm still sticking around here.
Well, if you want to go higher, go higher.
Nope, it has to be 7.
Okay.
Cannot go higher than 7. It's impossible. Yeah, for me it's a 7 because... Just because it's slow.
I'm sorry, I have to think.
No, just because it's slow and there's pauses doesn't make it shitty for me. But it makes me feel like a bad DM. Because if everything I just said about the whole railroading stuff is true, and that those 2 are the best ones, then I'm not paving that potential road enough for you. You clearly got to an end of a trail, and then the trail kind of petered off, and now it's just vast empty forest, and you're kind of lost now. And sure, if you go another 15 meters, you'll see the trail picks up again, but you kind of have to take that leap of faith, and you're like, ooh, do I keep going straight, or am I supposed to curve, or is this just the end? Am I supposed to walk back?
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, exactly. You get to, but if you kind of have to take that leap of faith of that 15. Maybe you need.
I don't want to.
I know it's spooky and it's scary in theory, but it's like, if I do just keep paving that trail, then it ruins the illusion of it being a sandbox. This kind of thing. Then it does become video gamey as I dig this artificial path for you. So I feel like it's kind of necessary to leave some of those empty gaps, and I'd say like most people would probably avoid this because they don't want to be a railroad, but make it where as long as they walk in a general cone in the general direction of that path, have things that will then corral them. Not even corral them, but like maybe some indications of head that way. Maybe this analogy is breaking apart, but as you're walking out, you see a sign that's like X town that way, and you're like, well, if there's a town that way, there must be a pathway for that. So you follow the direction of the sign, and you're like, oh, look, the road I was following that just petered off into fucking nowhere, I have an example of what's going on in this game, but I can't tell you that without spoiling it in the future.
Write it down so you can tell me later.
Once
I figured it out.
Oh, it's gonna be so hard to keep this analogy going in a note. Let me see if I can, though. Watch it make no sense.
Sexy goblin?
Gobbussy? Why did I write that down? Okay, I have written it down. It is not going to make any sense to me, like, after 20 minutes.
Okay.
So, I hope we can do it. I'm going to seal this up. I'm going to write a note on it, and I'm going to give it to you.
Okay.
And the note I'm going to write is just, remind Daniel after Leyline.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I gotta really say. Again, I like it. I like these RP stuff. I like not having to deal too much with the combat all day, constantly, and take 2 hours out of our day just to have people fight. Even though I like the combat, it's fun.
Well, if you like it.
No, but I like it, but the thing is...
We can't do it in a town right now unless we're really down to tussle.
I mean, you could, but the thing I like about it a lot is I always had a pressure whenever we played with any other D&D group to have a fight per session.
I know.
Every single time. And to be fair, when we had 8-hour sessions...
Yeah,
definitely there has to be a fight. There's no way you guys are playing D&D for 8 hours and someone has not annoyed someone enough that, you're about to get hands thrown. It's gonna happen. But once we started getting to, like, the realistic 6 and 4-hour sessions and stuff like that, and the occasional 3 or 2-hour session, it's like, I had a deep anxiety of, like, trying to appease all my players. One group of players wanted to socialize, one group of players wanted to explore, one group of players just wanted to fight shit, and it's like, if there's no fighting in the session, then half my players are unhappy. If there's only fighting in the session, half my players are fighting. And even if there's an even distribution, my players are unhappy, and it's just like, it's very hard. And I'm glad that you are one of the players who are just okay with doing whatever, whether that's fighting, exploring, RP, whatever, you like it. And then again, so far, aside from the forest analogy we were just having, you just keep giving yourself motivation to do things. I gave you a quest to force you out of your comfort town for your character, and your character's off doing things, and they're like, churchy, mayor, where's the bodies? And, I'm enjoying it.
She doesn't find bodies anywhere in his house, she's putting them in there.
That's it. Any notes from my player, or is that it?
That's it. I'll probably wake up in a cold sweat and wake you up and be like, Daniel!
The lizards!
The cats!
They're on fire! Do you remember the cats' names for 1 inspiration without looking at your
Belle and
notes?
Sally.
You got 1 inspiration.
Woo!
Schmack, schmack, schmack.
I remember them because you already have a character named Belle, and I remember it because I have Sally on my team in Dislike.
Who's Belle?
Belle the Bellhaven Witch. The one that gave me the trinket.
Fuck! I don't have her name written down. Take another inspiration for that.
Woo! I got 6, baby! I didn't even have to look at my notes for that.
The funny thing is, this is an illusion of power, because the higher your stack of points gets, the more everything costs to do!
Baby wants some power.
That's one good thing about this, which is really nice game design wise, is I get to just do that. I could be like, you get 1,000 inspiration points, like 1,000? Oh boy, I'll never need to. It costs 6. It now costs 500 points
Don't
to
give
do
me
one
false
reroll.
security. Make me feel good that you gave me 3 inspiration points.
No, I'm just saying, but that's the good thing about my system, is that if I do give you too many points, I can regulate the economy by just boosting how much certain things cost. It gives me real power. It's almost like giving a player a plus. It's almost like giving a player a +3 sword at the beginning of the game, but being like, yeah, that +3 can shift between +0 and +3 at my discretion as a DM.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I made this fight too hard. Oh, your sword's a +3 now, guys. You know.
Yeah.
It's a nice little power balance thing, but it also gives the power to the players. So, all good things. And I think that's where I'm done, unless you have anything else to note. Oh, I was going to ask you, as a player, with that whole forest analogy, forest with paths and the path stuff, how do you feel about it? I know you just said that is how you felt, but what do you feel about it?
I like it. Like I said, I like being guided, so that way I do know where to go, because I like to be presented with the options, and you can tell that I more like exploration and RP more than I do combat. I don't hate combat. You've definitely made it more fun now that it's just you and me and not like
A million
an
people.
annoying pain in my ass at the
Several.
table.
Several
Pains of asses. Several asses at the table.
Several asses at the table who say they want one thing and failed to know how to do that thing. No, if you say you like combat, please, for the love of God, describe what your character does more than I hit thing, or I punch thing, or I shoot thing.
Sometimes you're just a fighter.
No, but what I'm saying, Christy, but you don't love combat, so that's fine. You're just trying to get through it. You're doing what you have to do, and you feel good when you have the big number.
I do.
But if someone's like, I really like combat, oh God, it's my favorite part of D&D, and every time in combat you're like, yeah, I'm gonna hit this guy. 18. Okay. 12 damage. Alright, and I have this ability. 18 to hit. Okay, I hit him. 7 more damage. Then I'm gonna use this ability, which lets me hit twice more. Does a 12 hit? No? Okay. Alright, 16. Okay, that hits. Okay. Yeah, okay. 12 more damage. Alright. Yeah, that's my turn. And that's the end, right?
Yeah.
Not, alright, I'm gonna try to hit him 4 times, and, my character's gonna come out swinging,
Swinging.
Their arms are up, and, fists completely clenched, they're just ready to go, and they're like, alright, big guy, let's go! And then they just start throwing out their hits. Players who like combat, in my mind, should RP combat a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well,
what I was saying is that, like, and you can kind of tell from, like, how I make my characters first, is I make the character and the personality first, and then I figure out the stats, the class, and that's why I always give you such a hard time, because I'm like, I want to be a druid, but I want to be a dryad. It's not a class that exists, but I need my character to be a tree, so work with it, But it's
yeah,
just like,
Daniel, I want to be a sorcerer that steals other characters' spells.
and I need you to figure that out, because I'm not. And,
I want to be a fighter who takes the damage for my other teammates.
yeah.
And can use any weapon.
And it's just like, I like
And then I
putting
cry.
the character and the personality first. And I like having the options presented to me first, or at least the main ones. So that way I can take more time to think about, like, oh, how would my character properly react to this?
Uh-huh.
How would my character properly... Like, how would I envision them doing this? And I can take more time to focus on developing them as a character.
Like how you had VA, you're like, I wanted to have a staff, but not because it's statistically a better thing, but I wanted to have a staff because I wanted to swing it like they do in
Dragon
Age.
It's so cool. I love it. But it's just like aesthetics and theatrics, and I like thinking about that and how they talk and how
they walk
and how they react, and I like having the time to think about that. But when I don't know what to do, I have to take my brain power and think about that, and
then you miss how you constantly are like, oh, I
should have talked to Demos, but I didn't talk to Demos because I'm doing this thing and I need to do this thing, and I'm thinking about what I need to do about the thing that I need to do in 5 hours, and I don't know what to do then, and it's just like my thought power has
your
to go.
Your baby brain turns off.
Little baby brain. No. But it's like, I have to think about other things, which isn't awful, but it's just like I do.
Well, I as a DM now have a question for you, because you have DM'd for me
twice,
a few times. Do you feel like you have to have everything fully pre-prepared?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
That's fair. To me, it's just interesting because I get so overwhelmed at the concept of like having to have everything prepared, because when you're playing a game where your players can be like, I want to kill the mayor, and then you're like, huh? But the mayor's really important. I have like 7 quests that involve him, and they're like,
murder.
I would like to kill him, and you're like, what? How would you guys think I kill him? And like, you can't tell your players no. And if you make it artificially difficult to kill the mayor, then it's like, oh, so you're railroading us. All right, I see how it is. You're like, no, I'm not railroading you. You just really should kill him, please, guys. Don't. It's really important, please. And it's just like, no one wants your NPCs, Brennan.
Please.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, ugh, sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather like have this weird basic framework and then figure out the details mid game. So if the players do throw a wrench, it's like, ha, try to throw a wrench in my plans. There has to be a plan for you to throw the wrench into, you fools.
No,
and then I catch the wrench. I'm like, the wrench is like, the mayor's the bad guy. I'm like, the wrench is the plan.
For me, I have to have like every single like thing planned in my head, or else it doesn't go right. But then it's just like, of course you guys ask things that I'm not prepared for, and I'm like, it's all going down, it's all going awful, I didn't think of this. This wasn't one of the 100 options I think you guys would ask for. But it's just like, it's what I get for being raised as an Asian kid. Like, you just have to be I personally feel like I need to be prepared for everything, and that's why it's very, very hard for me to DM.
So you just tell me about like your process of like how you prepared for the one session we had where
I made the map first, and then I thought about each state's weaknesses and benefits.
States?
Because the continent is divided into different places. It was 12 in total, I think. Or maybe it was 22 in total. I don't think it was 22 in total. I think it was 12. And then I thought about what Tarot powers I wanted in what continents. And
I'm talking about the ones we actually played.
What?
Because we played your Dragon Age.
Oh, the Dragon Age one? I did not know where that was gonna go at all. For that one, that one was pretty loose. But I was also like, I don't really think we're gonna play this one for long, so I didn't have a lot of.
Well, I was still just curious on like, because if you're saying like you feel like you need to be prepared for everything.
I would for that one. I knew I was like, okay, well it's Garen. Well, it was Garen and you, right?
Yeah.
I was like, it's Garen and Daniel,
birthday.
so they're clearly gonna want combat.
My one horrible birthday.
You guys are clearly gonna want combat, so I would have the skill. I still have some of the skill sheets from the monsters on my desktop, like saved as screenshots. But I had them.
The most ghetto D&D setup.
And
that's not a bad thing. That is just how it has to happen sometimes.
But I had it set up ahead of time,
monsters.
And I know I used the Tailspire maps, and it wasn't too much pressure because I did just have you guys doing like grunt work quests, and like not too like crazy things. I honestly don't remember.
You don't remember it?
No, I remember some of the combats. I remember you guys being in a cave, but I don't remember where I was going with the story. I don't even remember the story. I'm gonna be real with you.
You didn't really have a story.
I think I was just doing it because I was like, I just want to do it for Daniel. And
I know, but it was just like you had me and Garen be in the town, and there was like a bulletin board for quests. And this woman had her
I
son
remember
get
that
lost.
was a Tailspire map that slowed everyone's computer down because it's
so
ginormous.
fucking funny. But yeah, that's what I remember from it. I'm just curious. I haven't got to talk to like another DM in person.
You have your brother, but that's not a very good one. I'm gonna stop the recording now before we get onto this.
But anyways, yeah. You want to end the recording now?
Yes.
Alright.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. That was a very gentle.
You're
thing
gay.
to do. Okay.
See, it's one or the other. What's the difference between a basement and a cellar?
I think cellars are like, I think the usual notation is that it's for alcohol, but a basement is for just generally anything. Define cellar. A room below ground level in a house, typically one used for storing wine or coal. Basement is the flooring of a building which is partially or entirely below ground level. So I'm basically right.
So they're both the same thing, just cellar has the connotation of probably has wine in it?
Cellar has alcohol somewhere.
Alright, so if we put a single bottle of wine in the basement, we could call it a cellar.
Yes. It's the cellar. That's one bottle of wine in the middle of the room.
Technicalities.
The cellar. This cricket does not come out unless we're playing D&D, and it's just going crazy.
Like vibing.
Yeah.
You're performing. That's a 13.
Wait, watch this coyote take a watermelon. Ooh, she wants a wet one. It has more alcohol in it.
And he's been cleaning the same glass since you came in.
Gotta keep busy.
Well, it's a joke from a movie. I forget the movie. It's Chris Pratt and someone else in it, and they're trapped in space. They both get they're both in cryo freeze, and they both get woken up in the middle of this like 100-some-year journey. But they can't freeze themselves because they have to fix stuff, and they're both just basically stuck on the ship with only each other to keep company, and the robotic or like the AI staff. And the shot is just Chris Pratt like sitting at the bar, and the AI barman is cleaning glass, and he's like, why are you still cleaning the glass? Like, it's just me and her in the ship, and you know, I know you've cleaned our glasses by now. And he goes, it's a trick of the trade. People get very nervous if the barman's just standing here doing nothing.
And I don't know why, but I saw
It's called playing the character.
I saw a waitress on Instagram. The reason I know it is that she was making fun of someone who didn't know how to order a martini. And I'm over here like, I didn't know that there was a customization list for a fucking drink.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am never going to order. I don't order alcohol when we go out at all.
But I'm not gonna do that.
But if I ever was in a life or death situation where I had to order a martini, I need to know at least the bare basics.
So,
I'm never gonna be caught not knowing that.
Here's my only issue with that entirely is.
It sounds erotic when you say it out loud.
Well, there's that, but
like
also I
think
think.
Sweet, wet vodka martini.
Well, I mean, not only that, but the thing I don't like about it is there's also a video which is really funny to me. It was on TikTok and someone posted it. It was like the start of the video is like, your butcher's gonna make fun of you for asking for this, but you have to at least try this once in your life. Ask for and it was like a very obscure cut of meat, and then the version I saw was then cut by an actual guy who's a butcher, and he's like, don't say that. Don't make people nervous to ask for something. I work at a butcher shop all day long, and if you came into me and asked for that, yeah, I'd be a little off-put because no one usually asks for that specific cut of meat. It's a weird cut that not a lot of people ask for it. It's either usually tossed away or ground into a different bit of meat, or it's just a part of another steak. So, like, it's weird. I would just tell you, like, hey, yeah, give me a minute, I'll check if I have some that's a little bit of an obscure kind of steak, but if we don't have any, I'll make sure tomorrow in the morning, I'll make sure to cut one for you, and you can come back and pick it up then. And it's one of those things where it's like, you shouldn't make fun of someone for not knowing specific terminology for your weird-ass trade.
Yeah.
Like, if someone came into my work and was like, oh yeah, on the top of the guitar, and I'd be like, the top of the guitar? You're a fucking idiot. That's called the head. Don't you know that's the head of the guitar? You grab the head and you stroke it. Like I'm not gonna make fun of people for not knowing the weird ass term. That's the bone. This is the chin. This is the belly.
And they're over here like, I thought we were working on guitars, not people.
Yeah.
This is.
And,
bro, you're getting a little too close to me right now.
Oh no! You thought it was only body part? Well, sorry. Now we're doing body. This is called the horn, and it's like, I don't understand the concept of like making fun of people for not knowing how to order stuff.
Yeah.
What you should do with that situation is teach them. Anyways, Daniel's rant about gatekeeping elitism is over. Let's have a little bit of a D&D rant, not crazy long, but I always hate the concept of DMs who are afraid to go back on certain things that they said when they don't fucking matter.
Yeah.
If I'm like, yes, and the window was 40 feet high, the player's like, could it be 30 feet high? Because I want to do this cool thing. And they're like, sorry, I already said it was 40 feet. It's like, bro, just, unless it's gonna truly ruin your plans, move it down, you know? If your players are like, oh, I imagine it being cooler this way, like, it's supposed to be this cool interactive storytelling thing. Not everything needs a dice roll. Not everything has to be challenging. I think as long as your players are willing to
work with you.
Not only work with you, but like, if your players are in the game to the point where they are describing, oh, I want to sit here and do this thing, like clearly they're thinking things out and trying to think in this headspace of a character who is an expert at what they're doing, you know? Like, if you have a character who has high arcana and high intelligence, and they're trying to lie to someone about magical stuff, you know? And they're like, oh yeah, I want to lie about this, that, and the other thing, and just spit basically magical jargon at them, and talk about like the space-time continuum, and oh, you have to be careful because the magical flux will do this, right? If they're doing that, don't make them roll for an arcana check to bluff if they're thinking it through and it's not like an overly crucial moment, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a very good way to let players feel powerful and not helpless. Like, one of the worst feelings ever is being like, my character's a master of deception, lies, and just, he's a bastard.
What's that audio? I lie,
I cheat, I steal, I'm an alcoholic, I'm a chain smoker, I've been to prison. It's, you know, one of those things, like, if your character is that kind of character, then you shouldn't have to roll every time your character tells a lie, you know? Especially if it's not crucial, right? I gave you a single barrier to get into this VIP room of, like, steal or lie. If you chose lie, you did a good job, you made it in, and now you're in. And it's like, do your thievy thing. You've snooped on people before, you've done that, you know? Just let your players feel powerful in their specific regard. If your character's this badass fucking barbarian, they're like, I want to rip the fucking door off of its hinges. Again, unless it's like a very important door, the door is supposed to be the obstacle, just let them rip the door off the hinges, you know? If they're like, I want to rip the door off the hinges to the bar so I could use it as a weapon, there's no consequence to failing to rip the door off the hinges, and if they have a fucking 20 strength and their character is like, I am strong, man, let them rip the door off.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my rant over. So,